Right. So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the newsroom and welcome to the Goutopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report brought to you by SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so, how did this situation come about, actually? Funny enough, what happened was, I think recently, the video with of that there was a I'll name the segment later that accompanies this. I'm pretty confident I recorded that video, and then it got lost in the shuffle, something along those lines. And I'm just re-recording it, so I'm basically gonna I'm just gonna go ahead and vote that one, and then I'll redo it now, basically, where we're gonna speak on August the Duck and Joon the King. Now, this was actually part of a much larger situation, if you guys remember, that happened, like last month, I think. To be honest with you, it really wasn't that long ago. But I wanted to hyper focus, if you if you will, on this particular segment because it speaks a lot to what his real problem is with Joon and with August the Duck as a whole, to be honest. And the fact that DSP is not willing to actually engage with August in any type of meaningful conversation, and the fact that he literally harassed Joon the King to try to go after his detractors, I find to be pretty interesting. So, like I said, this is just a segment where I can kind of just hyperbolically focus on that. So that should be fun. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go into my favorite segment. Hopefully, your favorite segment, or at least one of them anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my TED Talk. So, August the Duck and Joon the King, or also known as August the Cuck, or July the Cuck, which is actually a play off both, to be honest with you. I said in my original, I'll name the segment later, that DSP was taking shots at both of them. And he was, to be honest with you. He's very, very upset that anybody who has a name and who can bring in some type of traction, but not someone that DSP himself can define as a detractor, is making a video on him at his expense and can pull in a bunch of views. Even though DSP said he'd be willing to talk to those people, and I bet you if he reached out to August for a conversation, August might do it. But then again, August might not. He might not be worth his time, and I don't blame him either which way. But DSP is not going to want to engage because he's a coward. And that in DSP doesn't do well. He doesn't do well in verbal confrontations, to be honest with you. He's really, really terrible at it, to be honest with you. And he's not in the mood right now, I think, or at this time of the year, where he's desperate enough to do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to speak to August the Duck later on in the year, or he'll throw out hints of it. But to be honest with you, because he couldn't get the Medicare video, he couldn't get the Medicare interview, he couldn't get the Mutahar interview, he couldn't get the Moist Critical interview, he basically feels like a jilted lover, if you will. And truth be told, he would have done terribly in those exchanges anyway. So it doesn't really matter. As for Joon, I mean, truth be told, I don't think the Joon the King documentary and the interview that followed it, which I am working my way through all of those interviews, and they'll all be posted once I get them all done, by the way. To be honest with you, man, the whole situation with the Joon the King documentary, I don't think DSP, it goes back to the whole situation on what's more important to Darkseid Phil, money or his ego. And I honestly think he was willing to embarrass himself or allow himself to be embarrassed, not that he could do anything to stop Joon, as long as he could get the hit piece, or he could at least get the idea or the narrative out to go after his detractors, trolls, haters, and critics. It was nothing more than that. I honestly don't see a whole lot of upside otherwise. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you. It's not to say that the June the King documentary didn't break new ground, because I wouldn't say that. I'd say it hit on some of the points that it needed to. It certainly did better than it did in the Review Tech USA or the Mr. Medicare documentary. He didn't really break any new ground per se, but I thought he brought up some pretty interesting points. I think him actually able to get a few of DSP's dents up there and getting their point of view from, you know, from the dent perspective, if you will. I think that was a nice touch. He did well. I really don't have too many complaints as it pertains to the DSP documentary. But truth be told, I think DSP harassing him leading on the lead up to that documentary, throughout it, and then even after it, to go after DSP detractors was the whole motive for DSP, to be honest with you. In his head, oh, it's, you know, it's basically rinse, lather, wash, repeat, to be honest with you. But if he could get a segment from someone who can bring in a lot of traction and has some respectability, to be like, hey, look at these people who harass him, look at these people who follow him, look at these people who make content on him, maybe that would explain why he is the way he is, or why he reacts the way he acts, or whatever, acts, or why he has the type of outburst that he does. That's what I think DSP was shooting for. And Joon didn't do it because, one, I'd like to think that he could see he exposed himself enough to the pignosis to see it for what it was. But two, Joon probably just doesn't have enough experience to be able to tell that story. You know what I'm saying? Not within the particular time frame that he set up to do that. Because to be able to really, if you were going to arch or take that stand, right? That, hey, Darkside Phil, or DSP, Darkside Phil Brunel, Dark Geppetto is a terrible person. He's terrible with his money. He's terrible on how he treats people. He's just, he was just lucky. He was in the right place at the right time in the beginning, and hence the reason why he got as big as he did, and, you know, so on and so forth. But these people are really the reason why DSP is shown in a negative light, or he's presented the way he is, or he's perceived the way he is, so on and so forth. If you're going to do that, you really have to get into the trenches of the DSP detractor community, and you got to talk to people, a lot of people. You have to get their perspective. You have to get their ideas. You have to absorb the content. You have to do it for a period of time. It's not something you can do in a couple months. You have to give that like a good year. You know what I'm saying? You got to really go back through detractor lore and or detractor history and look at how it all started from the beginning. All things that Joon doesn't have no time for, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? He obviously was on a time crunch with it and whatnot. He invested, don't be wrong, I'm not saying that Joon didn't invest time into this, because I would be blatantly dishonest if that was the case. But to really, to do what DSP wanted him to do and to fit that narrative, he would have to go so much further than what he did. And there's not enough time to do that in reality, especially if he wants to come up with that, or if he wants to go through that, I should say, from an objective standpoint, which means he can't rely on detractors or detractor content. He kind of just has to go out there and really go through what's been said and done about DSP over the years to actually prove that point. And that's just, it's far too much, because now you have to get into DSP and IRL. You have to go through the FGC. You got to go through all of that to paint that narrative, to tell that story, right? And to see DSP's progression and or decline. And the reality is, it would have been a waste of time for Joon anyway, because it would take a while. I mean, I'd be selling it short if otherwise. But it would take a while, but Joon would eventually come to the conclusion that, no, you're just a terrible person. These people didn't push you over the edge. You were already teetering on it, and you threw yourself off because people gave you advice and you wanted to do what you wanted to do. End of story. So that's what that ends up coming out to be. Trying to make content, or anti-detractor content, I should say, or pro DSP content, is like a fool's errand. Like, it's just not really worth the time, and it doesn't really matter who, as a detractor, troll, hater, or critic, you decide to target. You don't want to really deal with that and everything that comes with. It's just not really worth it. And truth be told, for all intents and purposes, I wouldn't say that there really are too many detractors, trolls, haters, or critics that are bad people. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit's a hobby, it's a pastime, it's something that a bunch of people just kind of joke about and shit and whatnot. DSP wants people to absorb his content and praise him for it. He's pissed off at the fact that he's become the content. He's pissed off that all of his failures keep being brought up, keep being laughed at, being mocked, and being turned into content in these different and interesting ways that he himself or his audience to some degree could never do. And I think that's what bothers him more than anything. Rather than him being praised for the content he gets put out, he gets ridiculed and mocked for as the content, if that makes sense. So it was a task that I don't think Joon was really going to be up for anyway, and I don't think Joon saw any value in it. And at the end of the day, Joon's time is money. I think no one here is, no one here is being unrealistic. I think everybody understands that. But at the same time, though, too, if you're Dark Side Phil, you look at Joon as a tool. He's an instrument. That's all he was. He was not a person. He was someone of means that could do something for him. Now, when I say of means, I mean socially. Joon does have influence, right? So in that way, he had an abundance of something that Dark Side Phil didn't have. And the moment he opened up that line of communication to DSP, he took advantage of it. Look at the whole situation with Kino Casino, for example, and all of the kind of back and forth and all that zany, crazy, just actually mentally ill stuff that came out through those Discord conversations. Who knows what Wings and Boogie have on their end, and so on and so forth. I'll make a video all about that later on. But I think that's really the point. I think with August the Duck, he's someone who's not, that DSP can't put the detractor label on, yet he has a lot of influence. He has, brings in a lot of viewership, so on and so forth. And he's being mocked by someone who he really can't do anything to. Joon was supposed to be a good lapdog, and he wasn't. And when pushed, Joon didn't mind pushing back. On top of the fact that Joon basically said, "I didn't believe you anyway." You know what I'm saying? Yeah, maybe there were certain things that were exaggerated or whatever. But for the most part, you lied to me. You lied to me on a few separate occasions, and no one's going to sit back and just let someone lie to them. That just seems rather foolish. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into the situation. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. This is going to have some bleed in, by the way, that I need to point out. So this is from March 12th, which is when the whole 3-prong plan situation came out. Like I said, I went over that whole segment, his little social experiment situation. I may do another video, though, just focusing on the 3-prong plan in particular, giving us another look after about a month or two just to see what we think about it. But this segment with Joon and August basically is mixed up in that. So just in case it seems a bit jarring as we jump into it, that's the reason why. In any case, yet again, thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and let's go ahead and move on with our situation proper. Let's put the chessboard up because he really thought he was playing some type of chess and he really wasn't. But never let a person who believes they're smarter than you know that let them know that that they're not really smarter than you. And let them just play their game. It'll work out so much easier in the long term. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see here. Where is it? Okay, this is a supercut. All right, this is a supercut brought to us by Diggs, but the original cut came from Raw Phil. Big ups to them. And let's go ahead and get into it. I think I'm right where I need to be. And let's go ahead and get started, ladies and gentlemen. I don't smell no bacon cooking. So let's go ahead and get this started and whatnot. The video that was supposed to come out today is probably going to get bumped. It was going over some of DSP's gatekeeping. I found some stuff that was kind of interesting about that. So I'll probably have to have that bumped to later in the week. So we'll see. Unless any other interesting stuff pops up. If not, we'll just have to, like I said, it'll just get bumped till later on in the week. So that'll be a long one to get you guys through a few days. So that's a thing. In any case, here we go. Let's go ahead and get our ball rolling here. Let's see here. Like I said, this video was clipped from Raw Phil, but it's brought to us by Diggs. Darkside Phil speaks on June the King and August the Duck. This is from March 12th, 2025. So on and so forth. And let's do it. Let's get it.
Someone tipped $1.50 and says, I feel like you did it because August the Duck's video on you went viral. It didn't go viral.
Context. Remember, this is the social experiment and then the 3-prong plan. So just to give you that little bit of narration moving in.
It's doing exactly the same as every other documentary about me. It hashes through the same kind of content, the same kind of stuff.
I mean, it wasn't a documentary though. It was literally, it was like, I don't know, between 15 and 20 plus minutes, give or take. And he was just giving his opinion on his begging. And that there was a part 2, by the way. DSP never responded to that one. So, which was really just August responding to what DSP has said. I may go over those videos later on. I may go through those videos later on. We'll see what August actually had to say about that and try to get some perspective from someone who is not completely of the initiated, but certainly has watched his fair share of the track content. All right, here we go.
Didn't go viral would have been if it had like 10, 20 million views. It's not viral. You don't know what the word viral means.
Now, keep in mind, this is the same guy who, if he gets 10,000 views or 30,000 views on a video, he says it's viral. Imagine that. So, you know, it is what it is. And I guess you could take into account that, oh, well, given the size of August's channel, so on and so forth. But it's funny how DSP will sit there and squash that when it doesn't fit his narrative, or to try to make a point, you know what I'm saying, on how insignificant it is. It's just copy, paste, rinse, and repeat content. But when he does something, it's going viral, guys. It's doing great. Thank you for your support. You know what I'm saying? Just being a hypocrite for the sake of it.
Okay, it's basically the same drama content, okay? Now, the other factor involved in all of this,
which is also another interesting point. He's quick to say that people like myself are quick to downplay or to dismiss the stuff that he says or does. But yet, he does the exact same thing. So how is he any better than anybody else? He falls into that exact same category. And not even with his detractors, trolls, haters, and critics. He does that with other content creators and other streamers. He does that with game writers. He does that with anybody who gets review copies or advanced copies of games that put an opinion out on it. But he feels like he shouldn't be subjected to that same narrative. He shouldn't be measured up to those same terms and conditions. And he wonders why he's despised the way he is. Heavy as the head.
all right, is very simple.
Or heavy as the snout. Whatever. Whatever.
Okay? I wanted to do a test to see what would happen if I had an entire day where I did not ask for contributions, where I did not mention goals and hype them up, where instead I just let the gameplay content speak for itself. Now, it's a little difficult to judge because perhaps if I had done the podcast, it would have been different.
But not really. Yet again, he didn't give it enough of a sample size. He did it one day and he thought that was enough. And then when people mocked him and ridiculed him for it, he said, well, I'm running a business. I couldn't afford to take the extra steps, so to speak, and do anything more than that. I'm running a business. I depend on such and such, such and such. But in our current timeline, he's missed a couple of streams, or there's been a couple of streams, I should say, where they've missed the tip goal. And what does he do? He just begs harder on the next stream. Still doesn't hit it. Begs harder the next day. So what would be the difference? What would be the difference, really, if you're just going to go ahead and have 3 or 4 days, or better than anything, a week, where, you know what I'm saying, you can prove that. That's 12 streams if he streams 6 days a week. That right there, I think, would be a much better sample size. But of course, he wouldn't do that and whatnot. And by it failing, he thought he could make an actual point. Instead, how many times just this year, in 2025, has DSP missed the tip goal? You know what I'm saying? How many times last year in 2024, 2023? And if you want to go even further than that, let's say that I'm trying to be a reasonable person here. How many times has you've had this mysterious anonymous donator show up at the last minute, or one of the usual suspects who are a whale or a pay pig at the very end or damn near the very end of a stream come through and save the fucking tips goal and shit, or the stream goal or whatever. You know what I mean? That's a variable there too. And on top of that, there's already plenty of suspicion on whether the tips are being faked. Not all of them, but whether some of them are being faked, whether he is colluding with some of his whales or pay pigs to hold off on tips till the very last minute to try to milk as much as he can out of the community so they don't have to heavily rely on certain individuals, so on and so forth. So there's so many different factors that go into this overall equation on, does DSP produce content that people are willing to pay for? Or is he just the original e-beggar and that's all he does? And everything that he's ever obtained is through begging. Because, ladies and gentlemen, let me make this very clear. He's been begging since the beginning. He was begging for that PayPal account for his PayPal back before he could even monetize his content, or at least the gaming content at the very least, that he tries to brush off. He was begging for money for through PayPal to pay for games, to get all the new releases out, so on and so forth. He was begging for views. He was begging for likes. He was begging for people to share the content. He started off as an e-beggar. It's only fair that when this all ends, that he dies by that, to be honest.
Maybe there would have been people who showed up to the podcast and supported it. I don't know. This is all hypothetical. You never know, right? But the results are the results.
But the results aren't definitive. You just said that there are different variables in play. But you see how quickly we memory hole that, just so we can focus on what's right there in front of them. Hey, you guys, this particular day, failed me. Betrayal! You betrayed me! So this is what we're going to go off of, because it gave me the desired result. Even though he admits that the shit is tainted. That the shit's not completely clean. Womp womp.
Mention contributions. I didn't ask for contributions. All I did was shout them out as they came in, mentioned where we were with our running tally. Okay? And all day long, I did not hit a goal. In fact, I only got about halfway to my goals on both streams. Okay? So I'm just going to make it known for those out there that say, hey, Phil, if you just sat around and played games and made it all about the games, and that was your focus, you would have been fine.
Well, it's not just sitting around and playing games, which just shows you the massive disconnect, and really just shows you how much he hates gaming, or he hates what he does. It's not you sitting there and just playing a game. It's you sitting there and really engaging with the game. It's you giving the audience a reason to be invested, not just in you, but in what you're doing in said game. That's something that he's completely and utterly lost the narrative on. He doesn't believe in that anymore. He doesn't think about it. It's, hey, hot new release. Are you guys willing to pay me for it? Okay, bet. Whether he likes the game or not. And as we all know, because wage quitting is a thing, you guys are telling me that you like set content by how much money you pay me to keep doing set content. That doesn't make you a gamer. That literally just makes you a grifter. It makes you a beggar, basically. Especially since he himself has no real investment in the game outside of what people give to him. Outside of that, if you're not going to pay him, he'll drop the game on a moment's notice. And over the years, he's built up to where we're at now, where he literally doesn't care. Well, that's not true. He does care if people call him a wage quitter. But he's slowly but surely building the blocks in his mental snort fort to justify him dropping games for the sake of the business. Which, if that's the case, if you could drop a game so easily like that, then how could you not expect people to have an opinion on the state of your quote-unquote business? You know what I mean? And it doesn't really matter, because whatever it is that he spent on the game, he's going to make that back on the first stream anyway, if he even paid for the game. More often than not, he gets game codes sent to him. There are a few people, or at least back in the day, I don't know so much now, but there are people who used to be game writers, right? Or at least be in the know, or be in those type of circles, who used to get extra game codes and would send it to Phil. Phil's admitted to this, right? He said he used to get advanced copies or review copies or review codes or whatever, influencer codes, right? And he would use those things. He probably doesn't get those things nearly as often now, but I would assume every once in a while those things do fall through. If not, someone is buying it for him. He literally has little to no overhead, except for his time. And truth be told, his time isn't worth a damn anyway. So it's not worth a damn because what else is he going to do? What other options or choices does he really have? Something to think about.
The problem is that you don't just focus on the games. You have these other segments, you have this other content, you talk about, just go games like you used to. Okay? Well, I'm just going to be honest with all of you. No, that doesn't work.
Keep in mind, he's never tried it. Truth be told, if you really know your lore, he never ever really focused on games. He tried to focus on game news. He tried to focus on shit that was going on with YouTube. He was kind of all over the place with it. You know, even back then. You know what I mean? If nothing else, and I have the segment, because I cut it out because Diggs couldn't find it, but I found it, where he admits to being a poser, and we'll go over that in another video. But DSP is just a poser. He tries to be this gouty chameleon that tries to fit in where he can in whatever community that he's trying to slither himself into. He's never really ever been focused on the games. You know what I'm saying? He may have been a bit more focused back in the day than he is now because he didn't have to worry about so much of the gaming politics. There wasn't nearly so much competition as it pertains to streaming and YouTube, or content creation, if you will. So the times are a little bit different, but DSP tries it, you know what I'm saying, content updates, channel updates, you know, rants about different things that were going on in games or whatever. He's kind of always been all over the place. You know, it was never, ever a real focus on games. One of the greatest lies that DSP ever told was he told people that he really did give a shit about games, that he was the average guy, that he wanted to pay for games on his own and feel the bite in his pocket just like everybody else should, while he was collecting games, or while he was begging for PayPal money to buy games on the side. Yet again, just something to think about.
It doesn't. All right? It's incredibly hard in this day and age to make a living just focusing on video games. This is a bad take. All right? I tried.
And yet other people can do it. Especially, you can't do something like that when you don't really care about it. You know what I'm saying? He's not a gamer. You know what I'm saying? He's not even an FGC player, really. He's someone who plays fighting games for money and was, I suppose, decent enough at Street Fighter that he could make a name for himself. You know what I'm saying? He's a fan of Street Fighter. He's not even a fan of fighting games. He's just a fan of Street Fighter. And the only reason why he's a fan of that game is because the only game that he was actually to show some type of results that got him some type of notoriety. If he never made 4th place at EVO in 2005, if he didn't have all of those qualifiers in 2006 and 2007, he would treat it just like he would treat Guilty Gear. It's just another game that he plays that he's okay at, but he never did shit in. To be honest, it's really what it would come down to.
For a very long time to stick to my guns, to be who I was, just gaming. It doesn't work anymore. All right? Seriously. It needs to be a situation where basically there's got to be variety. There's got to be a mix. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be.
And he's having a brain fart, and I'll tell you why. He needs the landscape to change, not him. He doesn't want to change anything. He wants to put up slop content. I can call it slop content because what I do is slop content. He wants to put up slop content and be rewarded for it. He needs the situation to change because he hasn't done anything wrong. This has gotten him to where he is now. He doesn't see a problem with that, even though he should, but he doesn't see a problem with it. So the situation or the circumstances need to change, not him and what he does, which is nothing, basically. He literally does nothing.
Understanding that it's not just about me sitting here playing games all day. It doesn't work anymore. The era
that, and he doesn't want to play games anymore. That's why you can't get him to play a game offline for nothing, right? You know, like he hates doing it. Like if he was willing to stream the Bottom Bitch podcast and then maybe like an hour or two of whatever game he's doing and then take the rest of that shit offline, he would progress a whole lot further. Maybe not. Maybe not. But he would have content that I think he would have less. It would kind of curve his greed, I think. But actually, I might be lying to myself, and it might not. I honestly think that he should just do the Bottom Bitch podcast or the daily therapy session, then do like an hour or two of the game, and then try to do some offline shit, and then have whatever lame ass game he wants to play in the evening, and that's it. But he won't, because he needs the hoof holding, and every minute that he's participating in something online, he feels that he should be paid for it. Every single little thing. And truth be told, it's not worth it. It never really was, to be honest with you. And because of his detractors, trolls, haters, and critics, he's as accessible as anybody, famous or infamous. He's not famous, he's infamous. But as famous or infamous as anybody else online. Even more so that he can't profit from it. He can go to someone, you can literally go to someone else to find out what DSP is doing from a day-to-day standpoint. You know what I mean? And there's so much slop content that DSP produces that most detractors only pick the bits that are interesting or the most pervasive, or may go ahead and, or may just be relevant for that particular moment, and then things get left on the editing room floor. And I can't blame them, because do you really want to try to pull between 4 to 8 different things out of the Bottom Bitch podcast when some of that stuff might not hit, or maybe some of that's not relevant, or maybe you don't want to chain that together with something that he's done before? I get it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people do. You know what I'm saying? So that's the struggle, quote unquote, that some detractors have to deal with when you think about your editors and clippers, to some example.
Of long form playthroughs and making a living just doing them ended a decade ago, arguably, because people had to start changing. There had to be.
And yet again, going back to DSP's hatred of changing, which is weird, because he's quick to tell you, hey, I've changed from who I was 10 years ago. But when everybody else, when the business changed, I should say, he is resistant and even, I want to say belligerent, which he is belligerent, but don't get me wrong. He's resentful that the landscape isn't point and shoot, gravy train, milk and honey type days. You know what I mean? It's very, very strange. And which goes back to my theory that the racism, the sexism, and all the other bullshit, right, that he supposedly isn't anymore. If he still had the same profitability that he had in like 2012, 2013, he still do it. If he could get away with it, he would have still done it. So did DSP really change for the betterment of himself, or did he do whatever he could do within reason, within his reason, I should say, so he could continue to make a buck? Even though we went from, you know, hey, making $10 or $20, whatever you want to call it, back in the day, to making a buck or two. As long as he could pull in that dollar or two, you know, it's worth still doing. Something about
Sponsorships, partnerships, getting the games early, getting exclusive access, click this referral code, do that. That's how those kind of people are making a living.
Those kind of people, like these are minorities or some shit. Anyway, like these are stationaries or some shit. That's the business part of it. But see, DSP wants it to be preschool, preschool, Mickey Mouse Funhouse type shit, Pee-wee's Playhouse, where, oh, I can put up a video, I can get, tens of thousands of views, collect my paycheck, and I'm good to go. He doesn't want to actually do the work. He doesn't want to expand the brand. Not that he has a brand, but you know what I mean? He doesn't want to expand a brand or even build off of it and put in the extra effort. It should be just point and shoot dumb shit. Because that's what he's always been rewarded for. You know what I'm saying? And whatever it is whatever that is done, that is rewarded, will be repeated. And that's I think that sums up DSP better than, at least for right now, it sums up DSP in the best way I could do it. I'm sure someone smarter could do better.
Today, it's very rare, and I'm not saying there's no situations, but it's very rare where you would find a situation.
And now keep in mind, this is someone who says that he doesn't watch other people's content. So theoretically, he should be out the loop on that when it comes to other content creators or streamers. But then again, we know that Cat was cucking him for a while to watch other people's content. But he wasn't actually watching the content for the sake of the content. He was watching the views. He was looking at their sub count. He was looking at the money they were bringing in if it was a stream, and trying to compare himself to what they were doing and trying to explain or get the narrative over on why aren't you rewarding me for what these people do when we do the exact same thing. And that right there bleeds into the mental gymnastics with the whole knockoff casino setup, the whole upgrading of equipment, even though he didn't do the research. So most of that shit's not going to be compatible in another year or two, so on and so forth. He wants to show, or he wants to look like he has the trappings of success, though it's hollow. It's an incredibly nice, it's like the house on the outside looks great, but it's a roach nest and it's dilapidated and it's your proverbial crack house and on the inside. It's like that.
Where people,
which makes me wonder, is that one of the reasons why he didn't want the cops to come into the Snort fort when he was being harassed and all that bullshit he was talking about, you know, back when all that stuff that Broside Phil was talking about. I haven't gotten to all that yet, but I will. I kind of put that off for a bit, but I'm gonna dive in. Because Broside Phil did him and Steven did some pretty good work, so I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
are going to be able to just play the games, put out playthroughs, and make a full living.
See, he wants everything to be just point and shoot and simple. You know what I'm saying? But your commitment to anything comes through the content. If you're not committed, people can sense that. People can feel it. You know what I mean? And if you bitch and complain about every little thing that happens in the game industry, even though you know little to nothing about it, I mean, it gives people more reason to be repelled by you, if you will.
All right.
Or repulsed, if you will.
Just being honest. I don't foresee that moving forward unless you are someone who plays that game, meaning you do the promotion, you do the sponsorship, you take the pay bag, you take the bag and run with it, right? Those are the people who are.
And he needs to stop saying take the bag. Just say that you're willing to do whatever to get you're willing to take the check. You're willing to take the payoff, if you will. Now, either he doesn't know what those two sayings are, or he doesn't want to say that because it applies to him. The degrees of separation with those two terms compared to him taking the bag, which I guess he thinks that's like an urban thing, I suppose. He would rather distance himself from it. If you really pay attention to DSP's vernacular, it really speaks to who he is, what he is, and what his compulsions and his motivations are. And it really does come down to something as simple as language, to be honest with you. His body language obviously tells you quite a bit. But think about the terms that he uses in what he's talking about. And you can see it. Like when he uses get the bag, right? Just like the crispy haircut. You don't know what crispy is, little you got, and stuff like that. It's him trying to seem superior. It's him trying to come across as superior. It's him trying to mock people who do that, as there's something that they're people or something that shouldn't be trusted, that should be dismissed, that should be looked at as bad, to be honest with you. If that right there isn't some type of form of racism or discrimination at the very least, I don't know what is.
Making a living doing it like that, okay?
And actually, and I've been hypothesizing this for a while, that's when DSP looks at the whole thing about abusive language or whatever it was that they said on Twitch that he was being accused of. It wasn't defamatory. It wasn't prejudice. I can't remember what the actual term that they used in his letter. I don't know if it should have been abusive language, to be honest with you, because that's really what it was. But like, I can't remember if it was like vulgar or racist or, you know what I'm saying, or discriminatory. I can't remember what the exact terminology that Twitch used. But DSP can't see between the lines, so he just goes off what he sees surface level. The truth is, ladies and gentlemen, you can call somebody a slur without actually saying the slur. You can discriminate against people covertly, right? Without being overt about it. And that's what DSP thinks he's doing, because he thinks he's so goddamn clever. And he's not. And more than likely, the person who came to that conclusion was someone who looked just like him. But he can't acknowledge that either, because that takes away from the superiority complex. That takes away from the power fantasy. You know what I'm saying? And yet again, I could give you guys a multitude of examples and whatnot, but he doesn't realize that when he uses a lot of that archaic terms or language or whatnot, he thinks he's being superior, or he thinks that he comes across as I don't know if I'd go as far as saying well educated, but he's well read, if you will, which is pretty much the same thing. If you will, I'm just using it in a different way. He believes that he's more well read because there are terms that people don't use anymore. And he believes that gives him a degrees of separation. It makes him believe that he's better than most people, and he's really not. It really just kind of speaks to his time frame. It speaks to his upbringing in a lot of ways. It just goes to show how resistant he is of change, how scared he is of it. And yet again, when he uses certain terms currently, it's him using it in a mocking sort of way. Sorry, I'm probably overthinking that shit, but I'm sure that some people at least get my drift.
So, in that regard, excuse me, in that regard, I think that was definitive evidence that just doing the games doesn't work anymore, okay? Just being honest. I got a couple more shout outs to do, and then we're going to continue on with this train of thought. And another question that I have to pose, okay? Me sitting here on a stream all day saying, let's hit the goal, let's get some super chats, let's get some subs, right? Who is that hurting exactly? Was I running a large-scale crypto scam where I lied to my viewers about their investments, making them rich, and then I just pulled the rug out from under them and pocketed all their money?
You lied to them about tax money and losing your house and all that, and then you admit years and years and years later that you actually misappropriated a lot of that money. You did that.
Did it ruin any of their lives?
You set people back. There's more than one person that's in your fan base who sat there and put themselves into bankruptcy over you. There's one particular person who put themselves into bankruptcy multiple times, can't necessarily contribute all of that to you, but you certainly didn't help. You didn't help coming up with all these pathetic excuses and reasons on why people needed to give you money so you could keep going while putting themselves at a deficit. Jax is another example on why it took him forever to finally get a car, if he even has one. You know, just one of many. On top of all of the fucking social security checks, the disability checks, so on and so forth. I mean, shit, Brightside Viking damn near made himself go homeless over that bullshit.
Right? Did I run an entire giant corporation based on giving your children unhealthy candy and Lunchable knockoff meals that actually are going to make them like sick and not healthy? But because I'm
sick and not healthy, yet again, just like people giving you money, you could say it's a choice, despite the fact that you were pulling on their sympathy strings. Same thing with that. You know what I'm saying? Parents probably needed to take a little bit more time and do some more research. It is what it is and whatnot. But with that being said, also, to be honest, if your kid is constantly saying, get this, get this, get this, because of something they're watching on YouTube or on television or whatever the case may be, most parents will just go ahead and do it, especially if they have an incentive to do it. Like, for example, something that most people don't talk about is when that Lunchable knockoff was really making its rounds, there was all kinds of digital coupons that you could use to do so and whatnot, which gave most parents an incentive to do it. You know what I mean? Amongst other things. Like, that's marketing. You know what I mean? Make your product as accessible as possible in any way that it sees fit. And let's be honest, the mold issue that went on with that, which is widespread, everybody knows this, it wasn't like other Lunchable brands, if you will, because there's more than one, didn't have a mold issue too at some time or at some time or another throughout their lifespan. It's the thing. I'm not defending that brand and shit. I'm just saying it is not a common thing, but it's a semi-common thing that happens with the launch of anything that's new. Human error is a thing. Error, I should say, not era, but human error is a thing, and it affects almost everything that we do, everything that you consume. Just saying.
Some big guy who's like the Pied Piper to children on the internet, it's all okay. So I ruin an entire generation of kids who...
A generation? I mean, I can't talk because I misspeak too, so whatever. But you think a Lunchable ruined an entire generation? Okay, bet. It'd be different if like a bunch of kids ate it and died, God forbid. But it'd be different if a bunch of kids ate those knockoff Lunchables and died and shit. That would be different if that was the actual problem. That's clearly not it. But whatever, whatever. We'll let him play his game. Let him play his cards.
Watch garbage on the internet. Did I do that?
And for someone who supposedly is in their own bubble and doesn't pay attention to other people and what they do and just stays in his own lane and so on and so forth, he sure as hell knows a lot about what other people are doing. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Did I fake cancer?
I mean, if you go back to the Discord drop, you basically put it out that your parents were sick and Kat has cancer. Or you alluded to that she might have cancer. I don't think that's really any better, to be honest with you. Because that's really fucked up that you decided to go ahead and use your sick parents and put out the possibility or the plausibility that Kat might have cancer, or allude to she may have cancer, just so you could get the Kino boys to do all the heavy lifting so you could prosper. I don't think that's much better. I'm not saying that what you did is worse than Boogie, but it's damn sure up there. It's not much better. Oh no, he lied about a diagnosis that he clearly, I can't say clearly. He lied about a diagnosis that he didn't have, or at least he thought he didn't have. But he was too lazy to go out and get a second opinion, I believe, or maybe he didn't get a third opinion. I can't remember what Boogie's actual story is now, because he's a pathological liar too, so that's just all over the place and whatnot. But what he did is pretty fucked up. But what DSP did in DMs, sitting there alluding to all this terrible shit and added cancer to it, is no better. And if he was willing to do that to PPP, would DSP be willing to do that to his own parents? Would DSP have given them a sob story that, hey, on his weekly phone call with mommy and daddy, that, hey, Kat's kind of sick and, the doctors might think it's cancer? If he's willing to lie to Triple P, as I like to call him, who's to say he wouldn't lie to his own parents? Who's to say he wouldn't lie to his own family? Something to take into consideration.
For money? Did I do any of these horrible, horrendous things that other content creators who are big and prominent just get off doing every day and never get held accountable for? No. What I said was...
Well, I mean, Boogie's probably not big. Well, Boogie did get raked through the coals over that shit. And then Logan Paul and KSI and Mr. Beast did get fucking mocked relentlessly over the fucking knockoff, Lunchables bullshit. So let's not act like shit didn't happen. There may have been various degrees to it, but let's not act like things didn't happen.
Let's eat some fucking pizza. Send me some money so next week we can order pizza, which you will help me to order.
So you're begging for food, right? Am I downplaying it or whatnot, or am I misreading the room on this? He literally begs for food. That's literally what it comes down to. Hey, if you guys don't give us this money, Cat don't eat. Is that not begging for food? Just like the Arby's situation, just like the Popeye situation. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm an asshole, so maybe it's just me.
And we'll have a fun pizza party together.
Hey, let me bring that back. Oh, and one of the incentives of you guys giving me money so I can beg for food and whatnot is you guys get to pick the pizza that you guys aren't going to eat, that I'm begging for, by the way. Keep that in mind. Or that he's begging for, I should say.
Did I do any of these horrible, horrendous things that other content creators who are big and prominent just get off doing every day and never get held accountable for? No. What I said was, let's eat some fucking pizza. Send me some money so next week we can order pizza, which you will help me to order, and we'll have a fun pizza party together.
And you don't see that something wrong with that? That you're literally up here begging for food. That's all DSP tries it is. He's begging for food. If he has to beg you guys to hit such a money goal for him to order such a thing, and if you guys don't hit it, he's not going to order it. He's begging for food. That's literally what this is coming down to. I mean, this is what it kind of always was. No, I can't say always, because he just used to make a lot of money off YouTube by making the video and putting it up. But we're literally begging for food. Which is funny because DSP hates to be called poor or broke. But he's okay with the idea of begging for food. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm reiterating that.
And then we did it. And then it was fun. So what's wrong with that? We've got actual creators on the internet.
You're sick. You're really sick. And see, here, this comes back to that narrative that, oh, I'm a bad person, but I'm not as bad as this person, or I'm not as bad as that person, and whatnot. So you can't hold me to the standards of such and such because I'm not as bad as that person is. You see Boogie do that shit. You see Wings do that shit. You see Review Tech USA do that bullshit. You see all locals do it, to be honest, and whatnot, amongst others. And it's like, that still doesn't change the fact that what you're doing is wrong, right? Or it's manipulative. You know what I'm saying? Or you're taking advantage of people. At the end of the day, I don't care about the degrees of separation in it. It's still wrong. And people should have an opinion on it. And you can't be mad when you're out here publicly begging for money for food that someone doesn't have something to say about that.
Making documentaries about me saying I'm the greediest creator? Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, I forgot that he circled back on this part. Yeah, we might have to do those August the Duck videos now. We might have to do that now. I didn't expect him to snort the block back around for that. So yeah, I might have to do that.
Have you ever watched anyone else, you pathetic fucking schlub? You are so lame because you take the low-hanging fruit, the easy target that everyone's already targeted, to make a worthless fucking video that
But isn't that the definition of low-hanging fruit, though? Just saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that not a thing? And let's be honest, if you watch August Duck content, he's gone after quite a few people. That's what he does. To be honest with you, he gives his opinion about shit. It is what it is. Just thought I'd throw it out there. It's like, you know what I'm saying? If you in itself, I'm sorry, he is acknowledging that he is low-hanging fruit, that he is the bottom of the barrel, he is whatever you want to call it, right? You know, any and all terms are accepted. So what's the problem? That's what you do with low-hanging fruit. Everybody gets to, you know, have their opportunity and shit with it. It is what it is. He's not A-logging you, right? You know what I'm saying? He brings you up every once in a while and he keeps it moving. It's a Gundam. He brings you up every once in a while and he keeps it moving. You know what I mean? What's the problem with that? All right. He didn't mind when Kino Casino was just razzing him every once in a while. When Moist Critical was just razzing him every once in a while. When fucking Mutahar would just talk about him every once in a while. He was okay with that, but he's pissed off at August the Duck for some reason. Okay, gotcha. I roger that.
Hashes the same shit and just ignores the fact that there are people 47 times worse than me who actively hurt people on a fucking daily basis to get ahead. But somehow,
you know, it's really pathetic because Wings is starting to slowly build up to the point where he's getting to do this shit too. Where, yeah, what happened between me and Kelly's pretty bad, but you know, there are people out there do a lot worse, man. You know, there's people out there doing a whole lot worse. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm regretful and I'm remorseful for the things that I did to Kelly and whatnot. But there are people who've done worse. That's we're not talking about other people. We're talking about you. We're talking about that's a great thumbnail. Holy, that might make a good. Oh man, that might make a good thumbnail. Oh boy, that might make a good thumbnail. Holy shit! I'm sure that brings PPP or Triple P, as I like to call them, plenty of fond memories. I'm sure. Holy shit, Phil. Oh boy, I might have a field day with that one.
I'm the greediest person on the internet. Get fucked, you disingenuous fucking loser who has no idea how to actually make a documentary.
And you do? And if so, why haven't you made it? Why do you have to depend on other people to do the heavy lifting for you? If you can't get Joon the King to do a documentary, if you can't convince other people to do hit pieces on your detractors, why don't you do it? Why don't you go ahead and take the time to watch detractor content, which you're already doing anyway? You know what I'm saying? Why don't you go to the Kiwi Farms? You're already doing it anyway. Why don't you go to detractor Twitter? You're already doing it anyway. And you go over there and compile all the evidence and you edit it all up. I'm just saying, money's good right now, right? Money's cool. You know what I'm saying? He's not broke. He's not struggling. He's in a good place now. So why can't he just go ahead and get Photoshop or not? Well, pretty sure he already has it. Well, no, probably not. Why don't he just go ahead and get the Adobe package and shit? You know what I mean? Get his, you know, and get everything that comes with that and go ahead and put a documentary together himself. Hell, he can even have the dents go ahead and get the elements for him. And all they have to do is send him all of the components and then he throws it into the editor and then puts it all together. Why don't he do that? Makes you think. It's crazy how everybody else is incompetent. Everybody can't do this. Everybody can't do that. But he doesn't want to do any of the heavy lifting himself. It makes you think.
What a fucking loser schlub to pull my name out of the hat and say I'm the greedy guy. You're nuts.
That's it. Slub, lame. You're nuts. That's it. That's all the comebacks we have. It kind of explains why he don't want to talk to August. it kind of explains why he don't want to have an interview with August the Duck. That makes a whole lot of sense.
Now, the third path is different. The third path means I need your support every day.
So we're e-begging. We're doing what we were doing. I forgot about that. Oh man, I forgot about that. Because what was the first path? The first path was the sellout, the shill. I think it was. I think the first path was to the sellout and shill. The second path is he would have to choose violence by doing the drama content, and then the third path was doing what he was already doing, the path of the e-beggar. Woo! Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do that video with just the 3 paths so we can go over that shit. It'll probably be a month or 2 out though, but maybe. But yeah, we'll definitely do that because I'd love to see how this shit would look or sound in like June or July. That might actually be pretty good. I'll put it on the list.
And it means that every day I'm going to ask for it. And it means every day I'm going to hopefully get it. And I will be disappointed if I don't.
I'm going to e-beg y'all for money for food and other things. And I'm going to ask for it with full confidence and full entitlement. And if I don't get it, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to be disappointed that I have to e-beg you guys for money, for food. And if I don't get it, I'm going to be mad. Woo! This shit is sick as fuck. I don't know why it sounds so much more sick. I've watched this segment at least 3 times, I think. Maybe. At least 3 times at the very least. I don't know why. It sounds worse and worse. Which is the reason why I watch so much like the tractor content like SnortBucks, for example. Like, it's the reason why that I'll watch like a video like 3 or 4 times because I feel like I'm always discovering something every time I watch it. And I think there's a reason for that. Holy shit. That's wild. That's so wild. I hope I pointed that out in the past, but just in case I didn't.
What a fucking loser schlub to pull my name out of the hat and say I'm the greedy guy. You're nuts.
Pretty stiff burn there, Phil. Take a sip.
Now, the third path is different. The third path means I need your support every day. And it means that every day I'm going to ask for it. And it means every day I'm going to hopefully get it. And I will be disappointed if I don't. Okay?
That's fucking sick. Holy shit. Did any of you guys ever watch Chud Logic? Like, you know how he does the different gestures and shit and whatever? It's like that. That's kind of how I feel right now. That's fucking insane, bro. That's so fucking insane. Holy crap. We just came off of who the fuck are you loser, slub, lame, whatever, to sit there and call me the greediest person or whatever. And then we immediately, we take a sip, you know what I'm saying? Like the sleazy asshole that he is, praise me. And then we go ahead and transition it to, I need your support and I'm going to ask for it. And if I don't get it, I'm going to be disappointed. No, I'm going to ask you guys for money. I have to. And hopefully I get it. And if I don't, I'm going to be disappointed. Oh, man, if that shit isn't on the spectrum, I don't know what is, bruh. I don't know what it is. Dude, oh my Christ. I don't know this one. I'm telling you, literally, with you, and see, I've been in Discords where people have talked about this, where DSP, whether he knows it or not, really shows that being a streamer, at least the way he streams, I should say, it's just another low-wage job. It's literally the internet's version of an entry-level job and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody could do it, to be honest with you. Just anybody. Now, of course, not anybody can do it, obviously, but everybody got to start somewhere. But you know what I mean? Like, that's what he makes that shit seem like. So you go around here bragging about 15 years, 16 years, whatever the fuck, and you're literally e-begging for food, for money for food. No, I can actually say that he's e-begging for food because how many people have volunteered to send him shit? You know what I mean? But you're e-begging for food. You're literally saying, hey, I'm going to beg you guys every day, and if I don't get it, I'm gonna beg you guys for food, or I'm gonna beg you guys for money every fucking day, and I hope that I get it. If I don't, I'm gonna be disappointed. There's a reason why you don't want to focus on the content anymore. Not to say that he ever did, but he doesn't want to focus on the content. It's easier just to beg. It's legit. It's legitimately the most gen brain thing to do at this point. The games are too complicated, right? He can't relate to anything from it from a political standpoint, let alone just enjoying the game at like surface level. Can't do that, right? There are other people who can play the games, they can do it faster, they can do it more efficiently, they can make it more entertaining. He can't do any of those things. So there's no point in that. The Bottom Bitch podcast is just a daily therapy session. Oh, woe was me, so on and so forth. Give me money to get me through till tomorrow so I can beg you guys for more money. And there ain't shit else to him outside of that. You know what I mean? Because any collaboration he does is just trying to milk people for either money, for sympathy, or for an apology. There's literally nothing to him anymore. Not to say that there was much there in the first place. He's literally tapped. He's literally tapped. Oh, that's fantastic. Holy shit, that's fantastic.
But it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy because it's not get paid to kiss.
It's not going to be easy to beg people for money every day. Oh, is it because of the disappointment if you don't get it? Okay, I get it now. I get it. I see the ways of the e-beggar, Phil. I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm learning.
But and get paid to basically hurt people. Instead, it's get paid to be me and ask for the payment.
So get paid to be an e-beggar. Okay, cool. I mean, all right, fair. I mean, he said it, not me. I'm glad he's owning up to it. Progress. It's been a long time coming, but progress nonetheless.
Because it's willing.
Actually, this might make a good thumbnail too, actually. He has a very punchable face and he's in the begging position. I don't know, man. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it goes, but this isn't too bad.
Because I'm giving you the content for free, and then hopefully you guys will help.
You're giving them the content. You don't have an option or a choice. If that was the case, you would go ahead and have them, you would make it like members only or some shit. And he knows he's not going to get anybody to pay for it then. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe 10 people might be willing to pay for it, if not less. So it's not like he has an option. Like, okay, whatever.
To keep it coming by supporting me moving forward. It's different. It's definitely a different model. And at least people,
But weren't you saying for years that, you know what I'm saying, the way that your business option or your business plan was crowdfunding, which is essentially what he's talking about. It's not really crowdfunding though, it's just e-begging. And he tried to disguise it as crowdfunding. But he's been doing that since the crowdfunding thing came about. I want to say he started using that word in like 2017, maybe 2018. He may have used it before that, but I feel like that started to become something prominent between 2017 and like maybe 2019, I guess. I could be wrong, but I feel like I don't know, for some reason I feel like that's when that he really started to lean heavily on that term.
Fucking, you're an e-beggar, listen, you tell me, what's the better path? The sellout, the bully, or the person who says, let's get positive and please send me some support so we can do some.
Let's get positive, so let me e-beg to get you guys for money. It's not like he couldn't do the sponsorship joint and he couldn't just e-beg. It's not like he can't do both. But then now you start getting into really swampy, murky waters and shit. Like now we kind of have to cross the moat of the Snort fort with this. See, because here's the thing. If people start to get an idea of what he's making in sponsorships and endorsement money, then he kind of has less ground to e-beg on. Hence the reason why he didn't want to do the low-cal live joint, or low-cal podcast, I should say. because that's what it was called at the time that it was being offered to him. If he takes that 50 grand, people are going to be like, okay, well, are you going to pay your house off with it? You don't have bankruptcy anymore. So that money has to either be going towards the house, like paying down your mortgage, because you don't have credit cards anymore. So either to pay down the mortgage or you're banking it. And DSP is not going to do either one of those things. So he couldn't accept the money, or he couldn't accept the position with the money attached to it because it gave him less reason to beg. I honestly believe that's what it was. That whole thing about morals and, you know, you hurt people, Keem, and blood money, shut that shit up. That's not what it was about. That 50 grand, he would have to explain, where that money went while he's begging for more money. And he would much rather bleed these idiots, right? Bleed these people who are probably barely making it, right? Who have little to no savings on themselves. He would rather bleed them than to take this money and be able to and have to bleed those guys less, or to cut those people in on his blood money, on his personal blood money. Let's say that. You know what I mean? Because if he's over there with Locale Live or Locale Podcast, I'm sorry, and those people go over to that show and they donate, that's his money. Can't have that, because if not, then we get like what was that? We get another Lex situation with her. We don't want that situation to happen. Not with Locale Podcast. Can't do that. So he needs to have his own personal blood pool of blood money, and then he wants to get their money too. He couldn't somehow rationalize it in his head that you could have both. So that's why we can't be a quote unquote shill, and we can't sit there and walk the path of the e-beggar. Okay, gotcha. Mental gymnastics on a whole nother level.
Fun stuff together. What's worse? Nothing's perfect. I'll be honest, I don't think any three of those choices is perfect. I don't. And to be honest with all of you, okay, I don't think that it's my right to sit here and say that any of those paths are absolutely incorrect. I may morally disagree with some of those paths. All right, I might. But that doesn't mean that they're wrong. That doesn't mean...
That's bullshit, because that's literally the reason why you turned down Keemstar and his money. That's the reason why you try to talk down to Keem and how he makes his money. And you literally kept going back to the fact that I morally disagree with it. I morally disagree with it. I can't get into business with you because I morally disagree with it. And then criticize the fuck out of it. Now he wants to try to walk that back, but he needs to keep the caveat because he needs to continue to have his power fantasy that, oh, well, I morally disagree with it. But yet, instead of trying to branch out and get money from different avenues, you want to bleed these people that have less than you. In some cases, I should say. But he want to talk about morals and values. All right, bet. I roger that.
That they're right. It just means that they're different. Okay? I think...
And that's scummy. That's really, really scummy. So basically, let me criticize everybody on the internet for something that they do, but don't criticize what I do because I can somehow justify it. What those people do is morally wrong, and I don't want anything to do with that. I'm not shitting on them, though, because it's the same thing he did with Max. Oh, how are you guys going to take Max? Let me, as a point of reference. How can you believe anything Max says? It says #ad, dude. So that means he's being paid to say that shit. He's a liar, basically. So why would you believe that? This is DSP's words, not mine. He literally said that. But now he wants to sit here and go walk the path of the e-beggar and doesn't want to be criticized because what those people do is morally wrong. He can't live with that. But he feels comfortable with taking almost every dime he can out of you guys every day, damn near. Instead of getting himself an actual check monthly from doing the sponsorship shit. No. I can't divide the pig pen or the roach nest. I need to have everything centralized right here. My ability to raise capital and whatnot has to be right here. I can't diversify or do anything else because then it messes up the whole scheme. Because why should I have to... Hey, Phil, you just got paid from YouTube. Let me give you guys a point of example. Back in the day when he was still on Twitch. Hey, Phil, you just got your PayPal money on the 1st. Hey, Phil, you just got paid from YouTube somewhere between the 15th... Or no, I think you got paid from Twitch on like the 15th. And then you got paid from YouTube somewhere between the 20th and to the 24th, 25th, something like that. It was something along those lines. And yet he was always broke. Like as soon as the PayPal check came in, he was basically broke. At least the way he made it sound like. And then his excuse would be, oh, well, the YouTube money's not going to be a lot because I don't make a lot off ad revenue. You see what I'm saying? Like, this whole bullshit that he likes to be pulling, he's done it before. It's nothing new. It's something that he's rehashed, or he's rehashing, I should say, from something he's done previously. Everything can be traced back to something else that he's done at one time or another. It's no different. It's no different. So he literally didn't. So you could say he didn't take the Lol Cow podcast money because, one, he didn't want to cut himself off from an excuse to beg, and B, or two, he didn't want any of them to get any of his own personal blood money that he was already bleeding his pay pigs and shit from. Or, yeah, from, I should say. That's crazy. That's holy shit crazy when you think about that. Imagine you being so, so greedy that you got to make sure you get all the money, and you're willing to turn down money just so someone else can't get any of your money, or potentially get any of your money. Or if you can't pull a pay pig from them or a whale, you don't want to participate in it, but you don't want them to take any of your pay pigs or whales. It's wild, bro. Gatekeeping, legitimately gatekeeping his own audience from a much larger audience that might actually take them in, or might be willing to interact with them. You know what I'm saying? So we're not even talking about just financially now. Excuse me. We're talking about socially. We're talking about social equity, if you will. And he's literally trying to close them off from that too, which is funny because DSP will try to tell you, oh, I don't care what you do outside of my streams. I don't give a fuck about any of that, yada, yada. But the reality is that he does. Because the chances are of someone else, one of those pay pigs or whales, or even just the regular viewers, going to someone else, really liking that content, being accepted into that community, and possibly giving money to them over himself. Well, you saw that with the Lex situation and her girlfriend, MJ. And then you saw it with some of the VTuber friends that they have that some of those guys gave money to as well. Just something to think about. It's a vicious fucking cycle, bro. Gatekeeping at its best, as far as I'm concerned.
Too many people on this planet think that the world is black and white. So either that was the right path or it was the wrong path. That's not true. Everyone can live to coexist and do their own thing and not have to fuck with others and not have to destroy the things of others. You know what I'm saying?
So how is fucking with others or destroying other people just by having an opinion? Like, how is people having an opinion of you doing any of those things, or how does that equate or even match up? Don't worry, I'll wait.
I've learned this a lot over the last 10 years, that it's more about living.
The fact that it took you 10 years just shows how fucking mentally retarded and stunted that you are, to be honest with you. That's wild. That's why. And Winks tries to say that shit too. And Review Tech tries to say that shit. Well, actually, Review Tech actually took it a little bit further, for those of you who know. He tried to say that he watched DSP for so many years and he saw all of his mistakes and did everything in his power to mitigate or to just avoid those mistakes altogether. Ironically enough, he went ahead and not only did he make some of those same mistakes, he made a whole shitload of other mistakes and whatnot that put him in a worse position than DSP. Imagine that. Imagine you running around here trying to say that you're better than DSP, and you made mistakes that were similar to what he did that put you in a far worse position than him. Imagine that.
Let live. I mean, I had a lot of issues with Keemstar and the kind of content that he puts out. I did. I really like.
You mean this one-sided beef and shit that you had with Keem? Just like that shit with Stuttering Craig and Side Scrollers, where supposedly you try to make it, supposedly, DSP tried to make it out that for 18 months, Stuttering Craig was like basically memeing him every day and trying to make money off him. And this, that, and the third. And Craig's like, I haven't thought about you. I've thought about going off and trying to prosper and trying to do better for myself and those that I work with and shit. I'm not running. This isn't the opposition to Snort Korea. I'm trying to literally do better for my own over here. You're the one that's been thinking about me for 18 months, Phil. Remember that nonsense? That was in the fucking Stuttering Craig DSP interview.
Strongly disagreed with it and thought that it was wrong. And I sat here and I crapped on him because I was jealous of his success. And I didn't like that he was getting over with the kind of bullying, lolcow kind of content that he was making.
And it didn't bother him, and he continued to keep going and prosper, however your definition of prospering is. And he wasn't running around saying, you guys are ruining my life, you guys are ruining my business, you guys are hurting me. He didn't say any of those things when you had your opinion. So how is it that someone like myself or anybody else who can have an opinion of you, but he goes ahead and throws those terms and conditions out? But yet, everybody gets criticized online to some degree. but who's running around crying re about that? It's just him. It's literally just him. Well, that and any other lol cow who's, you know, soft in the ass.
Okay. And then we sat down and we had a conversation together, very man to man, very respectfully. And now I think my eyes have been opened and I realized I really don't think it's my right to criticize that content if everyone who's involved in it is willingly involved in it. It's different if someone's forced into it, coerced into it. There's a difference. But everyone who's on those shows is willingly on them. They're actively engaged in it. They're making bank doing it. And it's their right to. It's not my place to sit here and crap on that way. You know, on the flip side of that, the sellout stuff, I know I rag on those people all the time. I know I do. 100%.
So he basically, let me try to get this straight. So basically, he's come to amends with the Keemstar thing because he got Keemstar's acknowledgement, like senpai noticed me type situation. So he felt a little bit better about that now that he was able to get Keemstar's attention and Keem was willing to talk to him. Man the man, I guess. Really man the pig, but whatever. Okay, fair enough. Now let's talk about the shilling.
I don't like sellouts. I don't like you turn on someone's stream and you've got referral code here, ad over here, click here to buy merch, click here to do this. Where's the content? You're literally a living...
And yet we have a scrolling tally of the people that you're begging money for on your own stream. So wait. It's okay to shill for yourself, but it's not okay to shill for other businesses or companies. Huh? Isn't shilling just shilling at that point? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Billboard at that point, and a lot of people have done that. Okay? They've become sponsors.
And how does that hurt you? Like, I really don't understand it. Because even with the Keemstar thing, he can't say that Keem has done something to hurt him or to discourage people from watching his content. So how is it that people who, in his words, shill or who are sellouts, how does that bother? How is that somehow a deficit to you? How is that bothering you? How does that affect you? If you're on an island of your own and you don't concern yourself with what other people do. Just like how does it concern him what goes on in the FGC when he himself says he's been removed from the FGC for over 10 years? Over 15 at this point, actually.
Centric streamers. I don't like that. At the same time, is it really my place to be crap?
And see, when he does those, when he closes his eyes like that, it's an eye roll, by the way. That's what he's trying to do, but he's too fucking stunted to be able to actually do it. But, or he believes in that old notion that if you eye roll yourself too much and shit, you can actually get your ass stuck, which I'm sure that's happened to somebody, but I'm sure it doesn't happen as often as people try to make it sound. Anyway, he does that eye roll. It shows just how disingenuous he is, right? He's saying what he believes people want to hear, right? Knowing damn well that he doesn't actually believe in it. Pay attention to him sometimes when he's talking, especially about a subject that goes against a narrative that he's presented to you previously, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
On that. Maybe I should have been a lot more respectful when it came to, what is it, Woody's Gamer Tag and that show that they run, which I don't...
Or any of the boys in the FGC or any other content creators or streamers or whatever. iJustine comes to mind, as well as others. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, maybe you should have been a bit more respectful about it. Maybe you just shouldn't have said anything about it, to be honest with you, and whatnot. Anytime you give an opinion about something, there's going to be a backlash either which way. If you're not man enough to take that backlash, then maybe you should just shut the fuck up. Something about it, I guess.
I don't remember what it's called anymore. Isn't it? Oh, Painkiller or whatever it is, where I shat all over them and I said, man, that's fucked up. Look, their show's terrible. I mean, yeah, that was kind of me making fun of them, lampooning them. But
now it's making funning and lampooning them, and it wasn't an actual criticism because they were doing something you don't like. Ladies and gentlemen, am I lying? Or is that's what he said? Let me bring it back. Let me bring it back. Because how did we go from, yes, I had basically slandered people, calling them sellouts, calling them shills, I don't like what they do, this, that, and the third. But then when it comes to PKA, I was doing all of those things, but I wasn't doing those things. I was just joking around. I was just, I was razzing them. It really wasn't an actual criticism. So either he's retarded, and we don't know what the difference is between a joke or criticism, which he wouldn't be the only person that has that problem now that I think about it. Or we're lying yet again. Just another example. You know what I'm saying? Like, which one is it?
And they've become sponsor-centric streamers. I don't like that. At the same time, is it really my place to be crapping on that? Maybe I should have been a lot more respectful when it came to, what is it, Woody's Gamer Tag and that show that they run, which I don't remember what it's called anymore. Isn't it? Oh, Painkiller or whatever it is, where I shat all over them and I said, man, that's fucked up. Look, their show's terrible. I mean, yeah, that was kind of me making fun of them, lampooning them, but at the same...
What a coward. What a coward. That's like someone trying to say, oh, I look at myself as the face of a community or whatever, and then you get confronted by someone else and you're like, oh, I have no skin in the game. I just do this to, you know, I just put out my content and that's it. I'm not really invested in this as much as I try to present myself to other people as. It's kind of like some lame coward shit like that, to be honest with you. It's literally it's the hallmarks of a snake. It really fucking is. Like, you just said you don't like this thing and you're criticizing it. But then when it comes to them, you said what you said. Now in hindsight, oh well, I was just lampooning them. I was just razzing them. You know, it wasn't a criticism. I was just joking. I don't know. It's almost like that 5-hour interview with fucking side scrollers proves that you're just a lying scumbag and no one should ever take you seriously. And sooner than later, people will come to that conclusion, and it scares you. It scares you to death. A person who doesn't stand on their own word won't stand for anything.
Time, if they're making a living doing it, and they're not hurting anyone by doing it, then I don't know why I'm shitting on them, except of course jealousy.
Oh, so now you're gonna turn this back around to why detractors, trolls, haters, and critics basically have a criticism of you. I see. So this isn't pushing the goalpost back. This isn't sitting here trying to twist the narrative or whatever. Just asking. I'm asking for a friend.
Because I'm jealous that they're successful, while here I am over here, the whipping boy of the internet, and I'm, scraping to get by and shit like that, right? So again, it's just jealousy.
But I thought you were doing just fine and you weren't broke and, you're not poor and all that shit. And I thought you were exaggerating on how much help you actually needed, but that was in the past, and you don't do that stuff anymore. What a punchable face, I gotta tell you. Holy shit. Woo! Holy shit. All right, done.
The same thing. Same thing that I had with Keemstar, right? So there's really nothing wrong with any of the paths, all right? But I want you to understand why I've tried to do things different, why I feel like my path can work, but it requires people to actually have some independent thought, to not listen to fucking morons who are constantly just crapping on stuff, using...
Wait, but if what you're saying is so believable, then why do you care that there's going to be an outside element that has an opinion of it? And how weak is the pignosis? If you're so concerned or afraid that one of these outside elements could possibly sway the opinion or the thought process or whatever of said person, like, how insecure are you? If what you're saying is truthful, I don't know, we don't need to go into that meaningful nonsense, but if it's at least truthful, what are you worried about? And see, this is the reason why DSP doesn't believe in free speech. This is why they call it Snort Korea and what over there and whatnot. There's a reason why he hates the idea of having namesayers, but he doesn't mind using other people's namesayers against them. But that can't happen to him. It's really quite remarkable, to be honest with you. Which goes back to this long-holding belief that I have, that if detractors, trolls, haters, and critics get taken off the internet, or at least off YouTube for at the very least, Phil will eventually be taken off next, sooner than later. Twitch is kind of like a good example of that, per se, except for instead of targeting his detractors, trolls, haters, and critics, which has happened before, it was just easier to get people like him, get people like Wings up and out that bitch. It was so much more convenient. You know what I mean? Get rid of the actual problem, right? and then you don't have to worry about the residuals. Just get the problem out. And keep in mind, he didn't even get, him and Winks didn't get banned. They just got demonetized. And look at how quickly they gave up on it. So how much did they really care about streaming, or the people that followed them as streamers, if they were able to give it up for so little, if you think about it? I can't even say little, because Jesus Christ, Wings has said on multiple occasions that was his main source of income. That shit set him back years. And actually, DSP has mirrored that exact same thing. But yet, neither one of them fought as hard as, let's say, LTG, for example, to get his shit back. Makes you think.
For personal gain. Phil's the worst guy on the internet. Dude, there is no one who can legitimately look at me and my content and say that I am the worst guy on the internet, period.
Except for the guy who made the video saying that you're the worst guy on the internet. Let's not forget him. Or is he an outlier? And if so, what are the parameters that makes him an outlier? Don't worry, I'll wait.
It's just not possible. So anyone who has is a disingenuous liar who has no content and relies on trying to make fun of memes on the internet to make content. I want you to think about that. I sit here and
discount everybody, discount anything that's said about me, about everybody, because they're all liars and just disingenuous, period. None of them have any valid points. None of them make a lick of sense. You know what I'm saying? None of them have a right to even give an opinion on them. They're all just liars, and cast them all into the same pot. Think about that. Think about that. Not everything about DSP is said is truthful or even real, to be honest. But it's not all a lie either. It's not all a lie either. Not all of it can just be pushed off the board.
I grind every day to put out content for you, whether it's gaming news, a podcast, just hanging out and having conversation, playing a game.
You grind so you can put out content for them 6 days a week. I'm sorry, what else do you have going on in your life that you can do that can allow you to make a living, that this right here is hanging you up, or holding you up, I should say? Because that's literally the way he's presenting this. Hey guys, I could be spending my time doing something else, something more productive, but I'm not doing it. I'm sitting here doing this shit for y'all. That's basically what he's saying. Okay, well, what other prospects does he have? And if so, if he feels the need to have to beg for money every single day in the hopes that he gets it, and if you don't get it, you're going to be disappointed, then what is it that you have that's more lucrative, that's more meaningful, that's more progressive, that this is holding you from? See, you can't really say that if you don't have any options. You really can't. But if you're in debt, you don't know no better. So you're thinking, oh, well, Phil really is doing me a favor. No, he isn't. He doesn't have anything else he can do. Why do you think he does it as many days a week as he does? If you really take this into consideration. If Phil was really doing you a favor, and if he really had another option, do you really think he'd be here 6 days a week? I'll wait.
Doing other things outside the box, whatever it is, it's definitely content. All right? I don't just make my content talking about other people's content.
That's literally not true, because did you make the video games that you play and criticize? No. Did you contribute to the development or the production of those games? No, you just prosper off them. And when something happens in that game, and that publisher is like, oh, we have to tweak this, we have to tweak that. Oh, one of my videos got flagged. I paid you for the license to do that. No, you didn't. And I love how he gave up on that meme. But he started that for a long time. DSP had this thing going, I don't know why, maybe because he's retarded, that if he buys a game, or if you buy a game, you have all rights and privileges to broadcast that shit any way you see fit. Because when you bought that game, you bought the license. People like Nick Ricada, amongst others, were like, yeah, that's not how that works. But DSP went with that narrative for a long time, until, I guess, someone really showed him, like, the Nick Ricada videos. A few other guys in Law too spoke about this too, pertaining to other stuff, but it kind of all spun back around. And eventually he gave up on it. But for the longest time, oh, he's just an internet fucking lawyer. What the fuck does he know? He's not practicing. How can he tell me anything? Yada, yada, yada. He's just that lawyer thing is just a title. He don't know shit about shit. But yet he was also behind the scenes, in air quotes, was secretly reaching out to Nick Ricada over a bunch of different things that he don't really want to speak about no more. Huh. I wonder why that would be. Something to think about. Maybe I got something in the works about that. Maybe I don't. I'd have to go over some of Rekeda's old streams, especially some of his old streams going over DSP content, and maybe you'll get the gist of what I'm trying to say.
Original content. That's way harder. Because if you don't make your original content, you just suck on everyone else.
But that's literally what you're doing. You're not doing anything original. You're not turning on your stream and talking about whatever it is that interests you or whatever subject matter that's out there is based off something else. Are you sitting there producing your own games and then playing them? No, you have to depend on other people. And the funny thing is, you're not even paying for the games more often than not. Someone else is buying them for you. You literally, so if you want to call people riding your coattails, or if you want to say they're riding your coattails, I should say, or if you want to call them hanger-ons or they're parasites or this, that, that's literally what you are. You're literally the definition of that. Semantics.
You're a fucking parasite. I don't need anyone else to exist. I exist in this.
I don't know, man. Going back to the Kino Casino thing, going back to your disappointment that side scrollers didn't work out, you crying about Medicare, knowing damn well that man was sick and dying, and you had to get that interview from him before he died, which, now that I think about that, it's very clear that he was going to fish for an apology. And it was very clear that he was fishing for an apology because if he could get it out of Medicare, he could literally point back to his detractors and be like, hey, you see this guy right here that most of you guys discovered me, you know what I'm saying, by watching or whatever? He acknowledges that what he did was wrong. That's why he apologized, because he wouldn't have apologized for any other reason. Maybe you guys should consider it a stop. Or another little thing that you guys might not know about, there was a time where DSP was sitting there trying to harass It's a Gundam. And apparently he wanted to get an interview with him or something along those lines. And Gundam didn't see the value in it. Don't blame him and whatnot. But it's very clear that he wanted to, yet again, speak to Gundam, try to see if he could get an apology out of him, in the hopes that, oh, all of you who, you know, learned about him through Gundam, he apologized for what he did, so maybe you guys should just stop. Seems kind of weird. Kind of weird. Kind of weird.
Yeah. Weird.
Center of this weird universe, and this parasite vortex exists around me. If I turn off my camera and never broadcast again, 1,000 people have nothing to do tomorrow.
Is that those 1,000 people are not anybody that's in your audience. Ain't that crazy? And then what's even crazier is there is so much content out there on you that this machine can just keep going. You want to know what's even more ironic? You're not the end all be all. You could literally just go to another lolcow. You could literally just do that. See, this is the reason why I like food. This is the reason why I like Foodie Beauty and Amberlynn Reed don't like each other. Well, why Amberlynn doesn't like Foodie and what? Because Amberlynn always looked at Foodie as like an alternative, if you will. And there was a time, a long time ago, that people were like, "Oh, Foodie Beauty is the good Amberlynn Reed, or the Canadian Amberlynn Reed." You know what I'm saying? Because Canadians are, or at least it's the mythos is that all Canadians are nice. I can't actually say that's not true, but anyway, you know what I mean. So there was that. So Amberlynn always held it against Foodie for her just existing, right? But the point being is that there's always another market to go into. You're not the end all be all. You're a stepping stone. To be honest, it is what it is. Anybody who's boxing themselves in is because they boxed themselves in. Just saying.
So every one of them can get fucked. None of what you say matters. None of your
yet you're addressing it, so it must matter to some level. I don't know. Maybe that's me being an asshole.
criticism is valid. You're a bunch of fucking loser lowlifes, and you don't mean anything to me.
I mean, they must mean enough for you to be addressing it. Just saying. Most people who don't care about something usually don't feel the need to address it.
What does mean something to me are the people who are here day in, day out, hanging out with me on stream.
That you beg money to and they actually give it to you. And if they don't and they disappoint you, you basically emotionally abuse because they're not getting they're not paying their tithes or their dues or whatever. Something like that, right?
Supporting me in moral ways and financial ways.
That's funny because those are two that's literally a sequence of terminology that only that really I'm probably one of the few people that use. I won't say I'm the only person using it. I'm one of the few people that use. So why are you using that? That's weird. That's weird. That's weird.
To allow me to do what I love.
Yeah, you seem you seem to love this a lot, Phil. You seem real happy. Yeah, you do. You look it.
Those are the people who are going to support me, or they're the reason that I'm still here. After 17 years and so many other people who become irrelevant, or they quit and they ran away and tapped out.
You mean those people who made their money and were able to go off and do like real shit? You mean like, Phil, all those years ago when you had this mythical dream and shit of having your own brick and mortar, oh, I don't even know if you knew what it was, but some type of brick and mortar restaurant that you wanted to have? Wasn't that your whole reason? Wasn't that one of the reasons, I should say, you moving out to Seattle? Is that maybe you could parlay this YouTube and Twitch shit into, you know, an actual brick and mortar business? So you can have something outside of it? Wasn't that a thing? Just saying. Great screenshot, by the way, with his little hoof in the face of a C, or a very awkwardly bent L, something like that.
I'm still fucking here. There's a reason for that. And yes, it's a lot of my determination, but at the same time,
that's a great screenshot too. You're determined to come on stream and beg every day. Okay, I mean, whatever. Take your victories wherever you can get it.
it's a lot of you and your determination, and you're putting up with the bullshit and sticking with it. And
I mean, putting up with your bullshit, theoretically, any viewer of yours shouldn't have to deal with any bullshit from someone else. How does that work exactly? Like, what I say about, for example, like only iced coffee shouldn't affect them. Why would they care? They're going to do what they want either which way. The only bullshit that they have to deal with is your bullshit. The bullshit that you decide to put on them. Because you need, as you said, moral and emotional fucking stability and shit. That's not a me problem. That's not anybody else's problem. That's a you problem. All right, then whatever.
Supporting me through the people, all these times with everything. It's amazing. All right, it is. So
that sounds so disingenuous too, by the way. That sounds incredibly disingenuous.
Thank you for that. But this is the path that I have. The sellout, the drama king of hate return, or my path, which I've been doing, but understanding that we're just not going to put up with this bullshit from these fucking losers anymore.
Yeah, but you said that 2 years ago. You said that 5 years ago. And yet it's still the same old song and dance. Except for there's just more people at the table, basically. There's more people in the ballroom, Phil.
And yes, I am going to make money. I am going to ask for contributions, and you're going to like it because I'm successful and you're not. Because
yeah, oh, holy shit. Now, question. This is not a deep question, but it's still a question nonetheless. When you say that, hey, I'm going to ask for money, because I don't know why you had a hard time getting that out. When you're asking for money and want each and every day, and you're hoping that you're going to get it, or you're going to get it, or whatever, or you're going to keep doing it because you don't give a fuck what anybody says because you're successful. Do successful people have to ask people to give them money? Or do they put out something that's in demand? Like, maybe, I don't know if they didn't teach you that in business school. I don't know if there's some type of toxic waste in the Bridgeport, Connecticut water supply. I'm not sure. I don't know if something happened to you when you were in Catholic school or whatnot, because you clearly picked up a bunch of false narratives or misinformation there. So I don't know, but make that make sense.
And your determination, and you're putting up with the bullshit and sticking with it and supporting me through the people, all these times with everything. It's amazing. All right, it is. So thank you for that. But this is the path that I have. The sellout, the drama king of hate return, or my path, which I've been doing, but understanding that we're just not going to put up with this bullshit from these fucking losers anymore. And yes, I am going to make money. I am going to ask for contributions.
I don't understand the hesitation there. I don't understand what he's scared of by saying that, but whatever.
And you're good.
Tevin actually pointed that out. Praise me. Tevin pointed that out years ago. And it always stuck with me. And once Tevin said it, I started to see it a whole lot more. And that's why you hear support, contributions. He's very, very, I want to say hesitant but he's very, very just unnerved by the idea of saying, I'm asking for money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's what bums do. You know what I'm saying? That's what stationaries do and shit. So I can't do that. So I'll just ask for contributions or support. Because, well, it's the degrees of separation I spoke about earlier. Never mind, I just answered my own question. But that's another example for those of you who are made it that far. Or made it this far.
Gonna like it because I'm successful and you're not. Because success doesn't mean you steal success from someone else. It means you make it for yourself, which is.
But was it really stealing, though, when you said that you put it out every day for free? Is it really stealing if it's free? What, steal something that's free, Phil? Like, if someone swoops up your horse and your horse leaves willingly and doesn't buck, and doesn't or doesn't do anything of the sorts, did it really get stolen? If Jasper the Declawed, first of his name, purposely bolts out the house and gets swooped up and never decides to come back, is it really, did the detractor really steal them and shit? Did Granny down the street and shit really kidnap your cat? Or your cat's son? Give me back my son! Is that really what the scenario is? Maybe these retards don't know what free means. Maybe that's what that is. I don't know.
Is what I have always done and you could never do because you don't have talent. Get it? Anyone who relies on me to make their content has no talent.
So anybody who has an opinion about you doesn't have a valid opinion? That's basically what he's saying. Which coincides with what he said earlier. Just something to think about. Just something to think about. It's weird. It's weird hearing a literal toy soldier try to, you know, make it seem like they have more value, even though I'm calling them a soldier is being disrespectful. But it's interesting seeing a piece of clay believe that it's more than what it is when it hasn't even been shaped yet. It's not like he can shape himself. So, I'm sorry, what? That's why I keep telling you, locals are not people. Locals are not people.
Sorry, it's just true. Yeah. If anyone wants to argue with that, why don't you make some content for your own and show me how fucking successful it does? Like some of these no-loads who actually did try. Oh,
that's what, no, see, now we're getting ready to contradict himself because he said in the past, and he still kind of says now, that that views, right, or subs isn't a measurement of success. But yet that's literally what he's calling upon right here.
I'm going to play games like Phil does. Oh, I'm going to do.
Well, no one's going to make any money playing games like you do. But then, yet again, that shows how wildly disconnected that you are. That you believe other content creators or streamers play games the way you do, when that's clearly not the case. The fact that you even had to say that shows literally how out of touch you are. But whatever, I'll let you have it because, I mean, some dying men don't even, well, you're not a man, but some people that are actually dying don't really realize they're dying until it's already too late. So why should I, what good does it of me, I should say, to help you? Like, I'm okay with letting you drown.
A stream like he does. Oh, I'm going to do this. And then you fail, you fail, you fail, you fail.
So question, was it considered failure when you were barely getting any views, you weren't hitting your sub goals, the streak ain't sat there and ended on you, you couldn't get people to talk to you? Was it failure then? Or is it only failure when it applies to the people that you know that don't like you? I'm just asking for the sake of context. Clarification.
Why doesn't July the Cuck make a fucking piece of content for himself that's not making fun or deriding or trying to bring down someone else?
But he does, though. Like, he didn't get to 2 million subs or whatever his situation is off of your back. So what are you talking about exactly?
And see how it...
It's funny, because it's almost like, oh, everything that August the Duck did before that particular video doesn't exist. He only got to relevancy because he talked about Dark Side Phil. Ah, yes, gotcha. Yes, because every detractor, troll, hater, or critic that's ever done content on DSP has 100,000 fucking view video out there, or whatever. That's a thing, I'm sure, right? Right? Oh, amazing.
Does. Because it ain't gonna fucking work.
And what is this supposed to be? Some pathetic attempt of discouraging people from making content? All right, then.
Get it? The talent are the ones who have the parasite sucking on them at all times.
Is that what you were saying, the moist? Is that what you were saying that to Medicare while you were trying to suck off of his dead carcass or dying carcass? He was not dead, but you know what I mean. And is that what you were doing to PPP and those DMs and shit? Sucking on him and your gaming soulmate, Andy, which is a weird thing to say, by the way. Calling another man that. That's wild. I mean, unless you're into that, Phil, which is fine and whatnot. You know, if that's what you're into, if that's what you're comfortable with. But that's... none of those examples were considered him being a parasite or a cancer, if you will.
Anyway, at this point, I think it's time to do some shout outs, and then it's time to actually get into some real content, because this has been a very dramatic stream. That's for sure. All right. Let's go ahead and do some shout outs. All right. And thank you, because so many people are giving me very positive messages right
Nice T-pose. Might make a good thumbnail too.
right now in the chat and everything. And I appreciate that. And I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. You know, here I am. I'm going through shit. All right. I'm going through real shit in my life.
You're always going through shit. Been going through shit since damn near the beginning, according to him. So what makes today any different than last year? Making anything different from 3 years ago? Which made anything different from 5 years ago? From 7 years ago? Don't worry, I'll wait.
That is so separated from any of this fucking bullshit on the internet. And then I gotta go to the internet. I gotta hear about this motherfucker did this and this little loser did this. Another one's sucking on you, Phil. Another one's sucking. I think it's time to start flicking the leeches off one by one, right? Grab them by.
Is that the reason why you and Kat don't sleep in the same bed? Is that the reason why that you guys don't sleep in the same room? Is that what that is? Is that why she's so engorged downstairs and shit? I'm asking. Just asking.
Their fucking balls and start crushing them for the fucking life losers that they really are, because they don't deserve any popularity just because they bring up my fucking name. It's time to start getting real with these fucking losers, because they don't deserve a lick of time. All right? Okay. Let's do some shout outs. Another $2 tip. Why don't you ask August the Duck to come on and see if he's willing to talk to you man to man? Because I don't have to. I don't need to. I don't need leeches to be interviewed on my show to make content. Do you understand?
But isn't that what you wanted from Medicare? Because all the videos he made about you? Isn't that what you wanted from Mudahar, from all the comments that he made about you? Isn't that what you wanted from Moist Critical, from all the comments he made about you? So those guys aren't leeches or parasites, but August is. Okay, I'm sure somewhere down the line there's some type of logic that makes sense to somebody, I guess.
He needs someone like me to make content. I don't need him to make content. Get it? That's the difference. I can make content that's good and makes money very viably.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. All right, Chip. Woo, that's tough. That's scary. A reality check might very well give him a heart attack or a brain aneurysm, something. I don't know. It doesn't. If he ever stepped out of his bubble for more than 5 minutes, I'd be like really seeing the world for what it is and shit, and his place in it. It might kill him. It may very well do irreparable damage to him. I gotta tell you.
He needs me. I don't need him. That's the difference.
How do you feel, Phil, begging a dying man? He wasn't dead. Begging a dying man, meaning Medicare, to fucking do an interview with you. Like, how sick is that? You know what? It's actually it's not funny, by the way, but it's interesting because if you really think about it, DSP begging for Medicare's acknowledgement and an interview mirrors him trying desperately to get an actual Evo championship win in Super Turbo. The game was dying, the game was already dead and dying, basically. Well, it was dying in 2005. And so when it came to the PlayStation port, the PS1 port, I should say, it was literally his last chance, and history has proven me right on that. But it was literally his last chance. It was the last time that most of the opposition that could do something to him, or at least so he thought, would be out of pocket, and he could actually get an Evo win. And he failed. He failed miserably because it wasn't doing any better in 2006 or 2007, and he crapped out after that. Well, Medicare is no different. Medicare is yet again another one of these mythical unicorns in DSP, Darkside Phil Burnell, Dark Geppetto's life, that if he can just get them to hold on long enough for him to catch a win, then he'll have something to point to. And it didn't happen. If you really think about it. I don't know if it's been presented in that way, but that's the way I look at it. Look at every disappointment or every time that he's wanted something or he thought he was close to getting something and it doesn't happen, and equate that to Evo 2005. And you start to see the parallels, to be honest with you. Because at least with the two, especially with Evo, or that year, he damn near had, the way he tells it, he had that shit already won in his head already. But he couldn't follow through. So same thing with the Medicare situation. Right now, the narrative is, Kino Casino said they could pull Medicare. They said they could make it happen. They didn't have enough clout. They failed me. They didn't have enough clout to pull Medicare. And that's why the interview didn't happen. It's their fault, not mine. Same type of disappointment. Same type of resentment. He literally came up with reasons, or he's coming up with reasons in his own head to hate those guys. To hate the Cannon brothers. When in actuality, he was just trying to finesse or being a leech or a parasite or a cancer on other people so he could have his way, so he could make his way. Fascinating, isn't it?
I received a $1 tip, and it's just a troll, so ignore them. Well, someone tipped $2 says, I think your content went soft. In your original Metal Gear playthrough, you swore, you made fun of the game, you wouldn't give a fuck, you would laugh. You clap back at people. Now you don't do any of that. Your content's PG-13. I liked you before when you were funny. First off, I can't make that content, because if I did, I would be banned.
That's not true. The reason why he doesn't make that content is because he doesn't have any fight left in him. Look at everything that's come from him acting like an asshole. He doesn't want to make it worse. And that's why he would hope that detractors would go away. That's why he tried to dumb down the content. That's why he tried to sandbag playthroughs. That's why pretty much he killed off everything, to be honest with you, because he couldn't deal with the criticism, and he couldn't deal with the consequences of the shit that he was doing.
You get that, right? That culture and times have changed. Do you understand that? Like, the kind of content I used to say, the words I used to say aren't allowed anymore. The constant sexual comment.
I thought you said, wait. I thought the narrative was that you've outgrown that stuff. You didn't realize how harmful some of the things that you're saying were, some of the actions that you were taking were, and you've grown out of it. You've grown up. You've gotten older. You've gotten better. Now you're saying, I don't do that stuff because I can't do them. So which one is it? We've grown up as a person, as an individual, or I can't do it because I can't make money off it because I may or may not get banned.
Terry stuff, it's not allowed. Old Phil was a product of a different era of the internet before everything changed and everyone kind of became soft and a sissy and got offended by everything. I can't do that anymore.
Keep in mind, this is someone who gets memed on, and he says memes are hurtful. You know what I'm saying? That his wife is downstairs crying all the time. You know what I'm saying? His depression kicks in and all this bullshit. Keep that in mind. He wants to call other people soft. You know what I'm saying? And he's literally Twinkie filling soft. You know what I'm saying? He's literally Oreo. Well, I can't even say Oreo filling is soft because it's really not. Let's see what else. He's like, I don't know, like fucking like Charmel soft, I guess. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like fucking Kleenex soft, whatever. Anything that you consider soft and whatnot, he falls into that category. But he wants to call everybody else soft though.
More. I would never be able to go back to that.
He wants to call everybody else sissies, but he literally trying to find reasons to make himself cry on stream. But everybody else is sissies though, and they're soft. Gotcha. I roger that.
Style of commentary. And to be very fair, all right, I got bored of it. It gets very tiring doing the same shtick over and over and over. And the fact that now today
So wait, we went from I've grown as a person, as a content creator, and that's why I don't do it, to now I can't do it because there's no way I can monetize it, to I'm bored of all that stuff. Okay.
I'm able to be more myself, more honest, more transparent, and more of a hangout session than a hate session is, to me, better. It does. It feels more better making this content.
He can't even get it out. Let alone, like, he can't even sell it. Oh, that's so sad.
I actually like coming to work every day. So, but I get it. Some people live in the past and they think that was the golden era. A lot of people say the golden era of Dark Side Phil.
Whoever said that, I've never even heard anybody coin that phrase. All right, whatever. I'm not all over the internet, so I can't say that I've heard everything that everyone said, but I know for damn sure I haven't heard that.
Back when no holds barred, no punches pulled. I understand. I do.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you weren't asking to do interviews or having debates with people back in the day. So what are you talking about exactly? It's a no holds barred steel cage match with just you? Okay. And you want to talk about people being soft?
Can't fault you for it, but you have to understand.
That's all some Tonka Saw type shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like 101-0 type shit. Holy fuck.
Understand that things change over time. Today, I'm 42, about to be 43 years old. I'm not the same as 27-year-old Phil.
That's literally not true, but all right. His situation, his circumstances may have changed, but he's still the same old fucking scumbag piece of shit asshole, though. That really has not changed.
I'm a completely different person. I'm married. I live in a different place. I have different responsibilities.
That's really just a situation changing. That doesn't mean your character has changed. The fact that you don't understand that or you don't see that is fantastic.
I have different things I have to know and care about. The content is very different. Back then I could do a playthrough within 2 days of a game being out, nonstop play a game with that kind of commentary, and it would get, no exaggeration, hundreds of thousands of views and make me thousands of dollars.
So yet again, the situation has changed. Not him as a person. Keep that in mind. He's, like I said, you guys know what the slogan is over here. Well, one of many, I should say. You give DSP enough rope and he'll hang himself. He's literally trying to tell you he's changed as a person, but everything that he's describing is his situation. I'm not saying that your situation can't mold you, right? Or doesn't have any effect on you or so on and so forth, but we're literally just saying the situation has changed, not him. Keep that in mind.
That doesn't work anymore. The old shtick stops working after a while. You have to change.
And truth be told, because the market is incredibly saturated, especially as it comes to games, that's really what it comes down to. There's too much competition, and there's too much talented competition.
You have to innovate. You have to do different stuff. You can't just be the same endlessly. It doesn't last forever. I learned that the hard way because I did
because you're still doing it.
Try to stick to that and stay that same guy and that same content for a while. But around 2016 is when it crashed, when it just wasn't working anymore.
Actually, it was, well, arguably it was actually 2015, to be honest with you. I would say it was actually 2015. I would probably honestly go with. But I was initially gonna say is when he got kicked off of Machinima, is when his circumstances, air quote, or his situation changed. Or changed to a point where he literally had to do something.
Oh, let's see. All right. Well, we've certainly had a good discussion. The podcast went long, but to be frank, I think it was going to happen. All right. Oh, excuse me. And I'm curious, everyone's thoughts. Obviously, I would love your feedback. But when I say your feedback, I mean the feedback of those who are here to watch, engage, and support my content. I don't mean the detractors. I don't mean the internet documentarians. I mean people who actually matter. People who will be here to watch the content and support it positively in some way moving forward. That's who I need.
So only people who mean something to me are the people that give me something or do something. Great job, Phil. Great job. You should feel lucky that you're surrounded by fucking idiots, because holy shit, if any of those people could read between the lines, oh, you'd be in some real trouble, buddy.
To hear from. Not the peanut gallery of morons who are leeches on me and depend on me to make decisions to have content because they have none of their own. That's not who I'm talking.
To make decisions, to make content. Okay.
Talking about. Okay? I got another $1.50 tip. You have a stable crowd watching you 6 times a week, all the time, repeating how boring and bad your content is. What is that? What's your taste in content, then, you idiots? Yeah, I mean, again, it's weird. This is what we're talking about, this internet culture changing. Because it used to be, you have a hobby, and your hobby is you're into something you like. So you watch it, you follow it, you study it, you're involved in it. And it may not even be, all right, a situation where it's something that you can actively do. Like, there's big sports fans who aren't even sports players, but they're sports fans.
Yeah, and there's plenty of sports fans who watch other fucking sports and shit, or hate teams in their particular sport. Matter of fact, dude, I give no fucks about the WNBA whatsoever and whatnot. Milk and Cookies does a little bit, but you know, she just likes basketball in general. But she, you know, I give no fucks about the WNBA. But I will say that the Caitlin Clark versus the WNBA thing is absolutely fascinating, because I have not seen a whole cabal of women, or just people in general, really, it doesn't have to be women, just women, but a whole cabal of people looking to slit their own throats just to get one person out of pocket. I don't get that. It's fascinating to me. It's absolutely fucking fascinating to me that this chick from the Midwest has all these women strung the fuck up to where some of these players are losing sponsorships and endorsements and shit, like stuff that they've been working on, you know, off of the court, that they've really been working on to you know, build something for themselves outside of basketball. They're losing left and right and shit. Some of these veteran players are losing their fucking reputations. Some of these female sports broadcasts are fucking losing their reputations and damn near losing their jobs out of ESPN of all places, as well as other places and shit, over this one chick out of the Midwest and shit. I don't understand it. I don't understand that, oh, she gets all this television time, but we don't. But if you're playing against her, you're on television too. Like, I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm not gonna bore you guys with that shit. And what I'll save that for on stream and shit, and I'll get into that further, because holy shit, bro, that's such a mindfuck. I've never seen a bunch of people. It's like having a bunch of dark side fills shooting themselves in the goddamn fucking foot for no damn reason. I don't get it. Just because this one person, right, is bringing attention to all of you, we need to get rid of her and whatnot. And it's wild because they're like, oh, well, if it wasn't for us, she wouldn't even have a space or a platform. But it's because of her that more people are watching that space and platform. So is that not a two-way street? Whatever, semantics. Oh man, this shit's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's fascinating though, but it's so crazy. And let me clarify, not to say that every female WNBA player is like this. The smart ones are just keeping their mouth shut and just looking for the opportunity to get to play against her and get that time. But for some of these other ones though, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It's fucking amazing.
And they get into the culture, and they buy the merch, and they go to the games, and they do sports betting, and they do all that stuff, and that's good. That's fine. But you do it because you like it, right?
No, not necessarily. Like I said, there's people that fucking, especially in sports, but I mean, really in anything, there are people who will pay money to hate watch. plenty of that shit. There's plenty of that shit. Fucking A. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are people who have fucking season passes and get season passes and shit just so they can shit on LeBron when he come around. They don't even live in that city. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Like, people do that shit for a lot of things. Especially, you see a lot of that in football, especially, to be honest with you. It's a thing. It's a thing. Like, hate watching is a thing and whatnot. And it's not really so much about the hate watching, I think. It's really the community. It's the camaraderie that people have with other people who feel the same way that they do. But he don't understand that because he's not part of a community. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? And even then, I mean, those communities are still problematic. There's plenty of infighting and other bullshit that happens. So it's not like it's all positive. It's not all Hallmark cards and bubblegum.
Now, with the internet, what's happening is we're getting entire cultures based around things we hate. Oh, I really don't like this.
Now, this is coming from someone who bitches and complains about video games, other content creators and streamers who've done nothing to him, by the way. This is coming from that same person. Keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? Just in case you guys think that he's about to say something valid. You know, let's make sure that we're fully let's make sure that we're all fully initiated. Say that. Initiated in what the situation is here.
So what I've decided to do is systematically try every waking moment of my life to destroy it in any way that we can.
I don't even think that's really believable because I got to tell you, there's a lot of capable people in the DSP detractor community. I think if they wanted you gone, you'd be gone. Same thing with the Wings of Redemption community and shit, or the Wings trolls. If they wanted him really out of pocket, he'd be out of pocket. Same thing with LTG and those people, the LTG trolls. If they really wanted LTG out of pocket, he'd be out of pocket. Be careful what you're asking for, man. I gotta tell you, because it don't take much. It really don't, believe it or not. Which is probably the scariest part of it. It don't really take much. You keep knocking on that door, bro. Someone's gonna eventually answer you. And you, Wings, LTG, fucking Review Tech, Keemstar is going through it now. You guys thought you were high and mighty at one time, and look at where all y'all are at now. Don't think you can't go lower. Don't think the bar doesn't go any lower than where it's at now, because it can. You should really think about that.
Right? Make a cult-like group that stalks the person in every possible thing that they do. Say everything they say is bad.
How's they stalking everything that you do when it's all online anyway? I mean, yeah, there are a few instances of some of that shit being IRL. Can't speak to that. But as it pertains to the majority of it, which is what you're really bitching about, by the way, most of the majority of it is online. You know, that free content that you put out for people. Yet again, all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is about people criticizing him for what he says and does. It's all we're crying about criticism, by the way. Just keep that in mind. Having an opinion.
Wrong or not good enough. Make entire series of videos, documentaries, content about how they suck, how they're horrible, how they're fucking up. Meanwhile, have absolutely no actual self-reflection whatsoever, looking at your own life of obsessive, compulsive action on this person that's twisted, broken, and mentally ill, but instead they're the one in the wrong, not you. While everyone else in life realizes we have one life to live, we have to spend as much time focusing on the positive as we can, because once we're dead.
And yet, keep in mind, he's on this particular narrative for the better part of 3 hours, bitching and complaining about people talking about him. But he wants to focus on the positive, though. Just saying.
We're dead. You were busy focusing on things you didn't like because you're an ignorant fucking moron. And you hurt everyone around you in the process of participating in said toxic activities on the internet.
Phil, when's the last time you saw your mother and father? When's the last time you spoke to your cousins and shit? When's the last time you spoke to your uncles and whatever? When's the last time you fucked your wife, Phil? Yeah, don't say shit to me. Don't say shit to me if you can't or don't do any of the above.
And there goes the camera again. At this point, I don't think I'm going to get this camera to...
This fucking tard can't even fucking operate his cameras correctly. He can't even run his PCs properly, but you got the nerve to sit there and tell you about life choices. Gotcha. That makes sense.
Stay on at all. This is just... It will not stay on. And again, I didn't do anything different. It just doesn't want to work.
But he wants to call other... Sorry, look, now I'm just being petty. As if I haven't been petty already.
Unbelievable. Luckily, soon we'll be doing the gameplay. So I won't need this camera at this point.
Oh, so we can't fix the problem. We can't sort it out. We just have to avoid it like everything else in our life and hope that it straightens itself out on its own. I roger that. Good job, Phil. It's being very mature.
Holy shit.
Fucking dead. Oh, couldn't save his own life even if he wanted to. So sad.
Unbelievable.
And I kind of like this this visualization of it because it really is past Phil. You know what I'm saying? Screwing up current Phil, and then future Phil is going to end up getting mocked and ridiculed for it. Amazing, just amazing.
What is it, the 4th time? I mean, this is the worst it's ever been. So who knows what's causing it?
And never went out of his way to actually try to figure out what the problem is. He talks about being in that office, air quotes office, all day and shit, but we can't rectify or fix anything. You know what I'm saying? Can't do none of that. But this is our business, though, right? This is how we put food on the table and shit. Make it make sense.
No idea. Maybe what it is, I just got to maybe do a restart on my computer because I haven't done one in a bit. So maybe a restart on the computer would make this more stable. It's possible.
So that means we're leaving the PCs on literally all day and all night, whatnot. Interesting.
It's very possible that a computer restart could make this better, but I don't know.
And this is coming from the same tard, by the way, who doesn't believe in updating any of his drivers, Windows software, none of that. That's all an inconvenience. Why would he want to do any of that? You know, he's trying to run a business, dude. He doesn't have time for that. It's not like when businesses close down for the night and shit, and then they pop in the next morning and they have to turn everything on, or they have to do a system reset to make sure all of their POSs work or whatnot, points of sale, just in case you don't know. And it's not like, you know, people don't go through that. It's not like people do that. It's not like people do software updates and whatever, so their businesses can run more efficiently. It's not a thing. Gotcha.
If that's the solution or not. And maybe I'll try it tonight because obviously I'm about to start playing gameplay, so I'm not going to do it now. But I have no fucking clue what's going on.
And that's weird because we're getting ready to go on break and he can't reset this one PC while he's on break. Make it make sense.
Why he keeps doing this. Okay.
Oh, shit.
See, Chomps, and here's the thing. Here's Chomps, all right? And this is probably where we'll end it because at this point we've gone really long talking about this.
Yeah, keep running away from your problems. You're good at that.
Right? He goes, how long are you going to continue to watch all of your peers do better than you, surpass you, and even retire around you while you're still here struggling?
He's been doing that for the better part of 15 plus years. He's been doing that shit damn near since day one. You gotta, if you guys really go back and think about it, DSP was basically behind the 8 ball day one. It's not like he didn't have the means to do something different. Yet again, whatever it is that's being rewarded will be repeated. So he saw no need to change. And that's the reason why. And when those people passed him up, oh, they were cheating in some way, or they were being dishonest in some way. They weren't authentic to themselves or to the content. And if so, they wouldn't have changed it. These are narratives that he's actually used before. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Okay, I need to explain something to you. All right, this is going to be very important. I want everyone out there to listen to me. I have no peers.
Now, I want you to really think about this. I have no peers, yet we're constantly trying to get into the DMs of certain guys in the FGC to try to get them to talk to us, and they don't want to talk to us. Or the few that he's on some type of speaking terms with, oh yeah, Phil, we'll go ahead and turn you into a combo dummy for the night. But I really don't want to talk to you about the old days, man. I've moved on from all that. You know, the FGC is in a pretty good place and shit. I'm not trying to bring up drama because they know what he's after. They know what he's after. That's the reason why he can't get into a conversation with Max. That's the reason why he can't get into a conversation with Justin. That's why he can't get into a conversation with James Chen, because they already know that he's just going to try to be a drama hound about that bullshit. And they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it, especially with people that he ain't talked to in damn near 15 plus years. You don't talk to none of those people. So you're going to drum up some shit that happened 15 plus years ago and try to pass it off like it's a problem today? Which is ironic because doesn't he accuse his detractors, trolls, haters, and critics of that same shit? Oh, I've changed, guys. I've moved on. I'm not like how I was 10 years ago. I don't know why these people keep drumming it up. They're mentally ill. But he don't mind trying to do it with them. I just thought I'd bring it up. I just thought I'd bring it up.
I am a man on a fucking island. Since the day I turned on my camera and pointed it at my TV and started doing the improv commentary.
The improv commentary that you stole from other people. Like Angry Video Game Nerd, Howard Stern, all those guys. Or people like that, I should say. Maybe we forgot about that narrative. I didn't, though. Pepperidge Farm definitely didn't remember it either. They remember. They didn't forget. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. At least the two of us kind of remember that shit. Holy shit.
I did it different. I did it my way. And
You were the first person to point a camcorder at their fucking television? Okay. You were the first person that threw out racist and sexist jokes and shit? You were the first person to do that. I didn't know that. No one before you ever did that. Interesting.
never copied anyone else.
You never copied Angry Video Game Nerd. You didn't steal jokes from Howard Stern and try to pass it off as your own, because Howard Stern, none of his content per se was really out there on YouTube at the time. So he could get away with it like unimpeded because there was no real point of reference, or at least nobody in his audience knew of that or knew where to go and get it unless they were listening to satellite radio at the time when he was, to be able to do anything about it. But he never took anything from anybody, never copied anybody. Okay, I roger that.
I only ever wanted to be me. I never aspired to success. I never wanted to do this for a job. This all just happened.
If that's the case, then why didn't you go and look for a job when your ass got fired? No. That's a real question, ladies and gentlemen. Because he's going to sit there and tell you there was no more jobs in that sector. He couldn't get another job because there was no more jobs in that. There were no customer service jobs. There were no more entry-level customer service jobs available at that time in Connecticut. Okay. Okay. All right, fair enough. I guess what he really means is daddy's pull or clout or neptitude couldn't get him anywhere else, or nepotism, I should say. There we go. Not nepitude. I don't know what. I have to now kind of go to the dictionary to find out what that is. But his father's nepotism couldn't help him anywhere else, so he didn't have any other opportunities or prospect. I'm surprised no one ever really brings that up and whatnot. Oh, we couldn't find a job because daddy couldn't pull strings at other companies to help him out with that. Interesting. And it's funny because he ends up getting kicked out, or they ends up getting fired. Clearly, someone else got hired to replace him. And how many years was it until his father was let go? It was at least a few. And then his father ended up, getting back on that horse and found another company to pick him up. But there was no jobs in that area, though. And you're probably thinking, well, wait a second, Golden. Him and his father don't even do the same shit. Oh, see, you must have forgot, though. Or you didn't know that DSP was actually gunning for his father's job. He was trying to get it from up and under him. Once he had that little ACE certification, you know what I'm saying? He thought that he could go ahead and he could walk in his father's shoes. He thought he had Dave beat. He was the better model. He was the more souped up model. He's the upgrade. Womp womp.
And now here we are almost 17 years later.
And then look, goes to begging on the internet and whatnot for the like 15, 16 years. Oh boy, Dave must be proud. Dave and Linda must be proud.
You say, but all these other people did it bigger and better than you. Yeah, because they didn't do what I did. They came into it with the mentality of let's get famous, let's get rich, let's do this.
How did you know any of that? Oh, because they constantly wanted to put out a better product. They wanted to constantly improve. They wanted to push their creativity and whatnot and whatever skills that they had to develop along the way. The DSP swears everybody went to film school or editing school and shit to learn how to do shit, because he's a fucking tard. You know what I'm saying? Like, just you pushing the envelope means that you were instantly going for wealth. And it's funny, too, that that's the same lame-ass excuse that Wings uses, that Review Tech USA uses. Like, all these fucking losers always keep acting like they come into this. They all came into this on the spur of the moment. They didn't need YouTube. YouTube needed them. And yet, I think they represent... honestly why you probably shouldn't stream or do YouTube or anything online full time. You should always have something on site Or you should actually have yourself a job or an actual career and just do this on the side. You know, so even if you can make big money doing it, there's no reason why you still can't have something else that's a bit more stable. Instead, all three of those losers, Wings, Review Tech USA, and DSP, they all got let go from their jobs and ran right to YouTube. Now, they were already doing YouTube, but it's funny how they all got let go, got fired, and then all of a sudden, oh, got to go into YouTube full time, can't go back into the market, can't go back to school, got to do this YouTube thing. Something to think about.
Let's get the bag. I don't care. Get it? I don't care.
I don't care about getting the bag, but I need to beg you guys for money each and every day. And I hope I get it. And if I don't get it, I'm going to be disappointed.
All I want to do is make the content that's meaningful to me and my viewers. And if I can make a living doing it, great. You know, but I'm...
And if you can't, then what?
Not aspiring to be the biggest shill.
And if we can't do it, then what?
Sell out to make tons of money. The biggest hateful drama content creator on the internet who everyone is the big dog and looks up to, like Medicare. Right?
And if you can't do it, then what?
Right? I'm not looking to be any of that. Maybe I could be.
Oh, now we're just being delusional. Oh, wow. That's like saying DSP could be president of the United States or some silly ass shit. I mean, he might be the president of Snort Korea, or at least it's what's the term for that? El Presidente Indefinito. El Presidente Indefinito. And then add a snort somewhere in that bitch. Maybe that. But come on, Phil. There is no sky. The sky is the limit for people like you. That's not a thing. Sorry. I'm sure that you're used to hearing that to someone whose skin tone is a little bit darker than yours. But it's relevant to you too, Phil.
If I tried, but I don't care.
That's like Review Tech USA getting ready to sell his parents' house from up and under them, believing that he could go ahead and follow that music career. How is that music career of his doing? Didn't Rich say a year ago from our one day from last year, not even last year, I should say, a year ago from February, he said that he would be in a much better place. He'd be 100 times better where he's at. It's been over a year. And where's Rich at now? We don't want that million sub channels gone. And we're view botting allegedly and sub botting on our second channel. Man, it's gonna be unfortunate if something happens and YouTube ends up taking a closer look at that. That'd be a problem. That'd be an issue. Semantics. I'm sure he's doing great.
It's hard to try to do something that you don't have passion for. I don't have passion for that shit. I don't. I'm sorry.
I mean, you don't have any passion for what you're doing now. That's literally the thing PvP hit you for.
I got a 420 tit. Boo, Phil is boring and sucks. How can anyone watch him? A detractor as they're watching your daily restream and video about you the second it's uploaded and end the night on a Discord chatting about you until they fall asleep.
How would they know that? And is that true? Not the whole restream thing. Everybody who has any common sense watches DSP through a filter of some kind. But this whole concept of just like people talking to each other on Discord about DSP until they fall asleep, where did that come from? And how would they know that? And what Discord are they in that they saw that? I have so many questions now.
Yeah. But again, it's not about them, right? It's not about turning the camera back on them, their mental illness. It's about still making fun of me.
So why would you want to take advantage of mentally ill people? Oh, that's right. That's what you did to Panda. That's what you're doing with Cat, or what you try to do with Cat. That's what you did. You tried to take advantage of a dying man in Medicare. Shit, you ain't sat there and milked your dying friends, Scott and T, and whatnot. So nothing's really off limits. So I don't see how any of you who are watching or listening to this right now can have any mercy for this piece of shit. I don't get that. I don't blame you for it and whatnot. It just means that you have more of a soul than I have. But I don't understand how you can do that. That just seems weird to me. That seems weird to me.
Somehow in 2025. You know, it was pretty telling when I had my interview with Joon the King. All right. And we were talking about all of this. And I said, wouldn't it be fascinating Wouldn't it be fascinating?
Oh, that's pathetic. Look at him having to cross his little hooves and shit, thinking he making a point. Oh, that's so sad.
If someone turned the cameras back on the detractors.
So you wanted Joon to be your own little attack dog and shit? You wanted him to do the work for you?
If someone actually went out of their way and said, yeah, this guy has...
If someone actually went out of their way, remember what we talked about earlier about the terminology and shit.
All right. And we were talking about all of this, and I said, wouldn't it be fascinating? Wouldn't it be fascinating if someone turned the cameras back on the detractors? If someone actually went out of their way and said, yeah, this guy has been, ripped a new butthole for the last 10, 15 years. But what about the people who obsess about him? Let's learn about them. Because wouldn't it...
So you wanted people to go after your opposition out of pity for you. Oh my. Okay. Let's let it keep going.
Be more interesting to see what kind of a person just does this 24/7 and has no life?
I think you have to find someone who does it 24/7. You're not going to be able to prove that. I don't even know if you could find that. I wouldn't even put that on duty. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know where you're going to find someone who does this shit 24/7. Good luck with that one, champ.
And Joon said, well, no, not really. But why did he say not really? Because it wouldn't be viable. There's too many of them. There's not enough there. You know what that says? It's too hard. That's what I heard, because it's too hard.
It must be if you're not willing to do it. So it's sorry. So it's foul. It's out of place. It's wrong that Joon won't fucking get off his ass and do the work. But you damn sure couldn't be expected to do that, but that's all right, though. You just get to be the maestro. You don't have to actually be there and actually condition the orchestra to do what you want them to do. When you hit up to the panel, they should just be able to do it. And you just get to go ahead and wave your fucking flail, I should say, your arms around. Not to say that people who maestros flail around, but you know what I mean. Phil gets to just flail his hooves around and everything just should work. Okay, that's an interesting way of putting it.
It's easy to go on the one person who everyone focuses on and streams every day. It's too hard to figure out who all these fucking no-load losers are on the internet who are harassing the guy every day.
So it was, wait. So Joon didn't add anything to the conversation. He went ahead and just took the same regurgitated bullshit and put it into his documentary. But the documentary in your eyes is a failure because he wouldn't go after your ops. Because he was too lazy. Because it was too hard. If all of this information is readily available about all these mentally ill idiots running around here, then why can't he do it? Interesting.
That's too much work. Instead, the easy mode is to just research all this shit that's already on the internet and put it together into a documentary.
Damn, Joon, you gonna let your mans talk to you? Well, he's not your mans, but you're gonna let him talk to you like that? You gonna let him talk to you like that? Now, don't get me wrong, Joon. Like I said, your Review Tech USA fucking documentary, trash, garbage. Absolute garbage. Now, maybe because you were worried or concerned that he was going to flag your fucking video, and if that's the case, then, all right then. Self-preservation, I get it. This is what you do. There's no point in getting the main channel taken down. But definitely garbage. Terrible light work on that bullshit. The Metacritic thing, terrible. You should have just gone ahead and just put the interview out. It would have done so much better than everything else. You missed out on so much of that man's life. On the internet, I should say. You missed out on the majority of the crucial shit and whatnot. I would have just rather you just put the interview out there and just been done with it. To be honest. But that's just me. And that's just me. That's just my opinion. And whatnot. And I live and die by that. As it pertains to the DSP shit, though. You know what I'm saying? He obviously did some footwork and shit. He obviously had to reach out to some people. He didn't catch the whole story, but he got enough of it, to be honest with you. But then again, DSP was the one that was sucking Joon's dick for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, leading up to the interview and after the fact about how good it was and shit. But now he's sitting there saying Joon was lazy. Joon wouldn't do what I wanted him to do. So he's lazy and useless, by the way. Because all he did was take shit that was already out there, threw it into his editor, copy and paste, done. Yikes. Good God, son.
Right?
So I guess that makes Joon a slub then, right? That makes him a lame, right?
It's ridiculous. I really think that would actually be the golden nugget that no one wants to grab.
So wait, so are you mad because you're too lazy, too stupid, and too inept to do that shit on your own? Or are you mad that you couldn't get Joon to do it? I have questions. I have so many questions.
Because it's too hard. Instead of making the 7,000th documentary on Darkside Phil.
God damn, Joon. God damn, Joon. This boy taking shots.
Why not do the documentary on the people who literally obsess about him 24/7? Right? Sure, I understand that it's easy to make the fun of me, but man, the person who goes the extra mile, that would be the meaningful thing that's very different. It would be.
Wow. He ain't get. So what does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? That means exactly what I told you it meant. That DSP had, I've said this before, now, but you know what I mean. DSP ain't sat there and gassed Joon up and gave him all that praise and sucked his dick and all that bullshit just so in the hopes that he could get Joon to do what he wanted. And now that Joon didn't do it, now look at him. Now look at him biting the hand that was feeding him and shit. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. DSP will turn on you in a heartbeat. He's not loyal to anybody, not even to himself. You know what I'm saying? He's not proactive, he's reactive. If you can't trust him, holy shit, you can't trust him. Oh boy.
Of course, insane detractors have been outed in the past. You're right. You're absolutely right. So,
well, yeah, and look at how he sucked off SOK. He's still sucking off SOK to this very day, now that I think about it. Oh, well, I guess we can just memory hold that for right now.
That's what I mean. Like, can you imagine if the rest of them were sniffed out? If these morons who literally are just making this stuff...
Oh, the guy... We're literally doing a call to arms here. The Gouty Gestapo needs to get out there and get this work. You know what I'm saying? The Gouty Gestapo needs to get out there and get this work, bruh. It's time to get out. It's time for them to stop snitching on each other, which is what they do, by the way. Holy fuck, they snitch on each other, and whatnot. That's how DSP knows who's in, what detractor stream, what detractor Discord, what detractor video, whatever. Because these guys rat on each other. They're all rats, just dirty, nasty rats, and they're always ratting on each other. But this motherfucker right here is literally trying to do a call to arms and shit. Literally trying to do a call to arms. That's fucking fantastic. Oh my god. Literally gout whispering and shit. Pig whistling, if you will. Holy shit.
Constantly. Actually, we're exposed for these weirdo obsessed losers that they are. You know? But no one wants to do that because that's tough. That's the hard work. Man, let's go for the low.
I mean, you don't want to do it either, so you're literally part of the problem. You're literally part of the problem.
Hanging fruits, right?
I mean, shit, you weren't even man enough to really take on Review Tech on your own. You had to latch on the Kino Casino to get that job done. In the same way that fucking Review Tech USA couldn't get the job done against Travis. That's why he had the fucking latch on the Sly. He needed Sly to finish the job on that.
All right. Anyway, we've now gone super late, and I do want to do at least a couple hours of Pirate Yakuza today. All right. So let's end the podcast. I fully expected, coming off of the last couple of days, that this show was going to go crazy, and it did, admittedly. All right. So I will say this. Thank you all. Take a look. So far today, not once did I ask for any contributions whatsoever. All right. All I did was speak from the heart, honestly, about everything that's been going on recently. And we are at, what, like $90 of support? I don't even know. I haven't been tracking. Yeah. We're already 2/3 to the goal, and I haven't asked for anything. All right? So I can just leave it at that, and we can play Pirate Yakuza. All right? And
Now, how's he gonna sit there and say, "I don't know, I haven't been tracking," when it's literally on the screen and it's not updated, automatically like most people? He has to update it manually himself. You know what? Let me stop. I mean, I'm so damn petty. I'm so damn petty.
And enjoy it for the next 2.5 hours
Hmm.
and just leave it at that. Or we can get our first sub of the day because no one on Kick has become a sub.
He's so bad at hyping shit up too. He really is. He's so terrible at it. Like the Gouty, he's like the poor Gouty Jedi mind trick fucking version and shit of fucking Triple P. It's really sad. It's really sad. You can't even hype up people properly. That's fucking wild. If you're gonna be an e-beggar, you should at least be good at it.
Whatsoever. I don't know what's going on over on Kick recently. Let's get some subs. Let's get some tips. Let's get a super chat. How about some gifted members?
And it doesn't even sound like hype. It literally sounds like entitlement. It's like, hey, why give me this? Why haven't you done it yet? Like, what the fuck are you holding out on me for? Actual terms that DSP is used, by the way. Imagine that.
Of which we got none today. Let's hit the goddamn goal because we want to get to 60. You want to see me stuff my bloated face with Girl Scout cookies. So cut the shit. Let's get it going right now.
So I can beg you guys for more food later. Gotcha.
Let's get some support. What is happening? Let's do it. What are we waiting for? What are we dragging our feet for? Let's hit the goal right now. Then we can just play Pirate Yakuza and not have to worry about hitting any goals at all.
Doesn't that theoretically put Pirate Yakuza, or any game for that matter, when he frames it like this, behind a paywall? Hey, give me money. Let's hit the goal right now, so then when we play the game, we'll be fine. Are you not going to need more support after the goal's hit?
Let's get our final contributions in. Hit that 150 right now. Let's do it.
So sad.
There we go.
So sad.
My screen screwed up. I had to refresh it.
Living the dream. This is success, ladies and gentlemen. Take it all in. This is a man who's happy with what he is and what he's doing in his life. Take it all in.
No, to be honest, I actually don't know what's happened over on Kick like this last week.
Holy shit. Woo! I'm glad I went through this. Oh, I'm glad I went back over this. That's fantastic. Like I said, a lot of stuff that I missed first couple times going around. But holy shit. That's wild. Very I'm holy shit. Oh man, that's crazy. The Joon, like I said, the animosity against August the Duck, I get that, but the Joon the King shit at the end. Oh baby. Oh baby. That's tough, ladies and gentlemen. That's tough. Holy shit. That's tough. Woo! Shit, that was tough. All right, let's do yeah, let's do that. Let's do Gout Rushmore. Come on, let's do that. Let's do that. Big ups to Chio 18. Okay. Okay, closing thoughts. And then I'll let you guys go. I very much appreciate your time. Ooh boy, oh boy. Okay, so August the Duck. Hey man, he's another person that he can't necessarily label as a detractor who, pulls 100,000 plus at the very most, certainly probably more than that, off of him, and DSP can't really retaliate against him because he's a much bigger content creator who has done content before Phil that's been successful, and he'll be able to throw virtual back shots at Phil whenever the fuck he sees fit, and he's gonna get away with it because Phil can't really do anything. And according to this, DSP's too scared to say anything about him or have a conversation with him. We'll see how that changes as the year goes on. The hypocrisy amongst as it pertains to his notion on what he can do and detractors can't do, yet again on full display. No one should be surprised by that. And Joon, holy shit, you were supposed to be a useful and beneficial pack mule, and you just weren't willing to do it. You just weren't willing to do it. I don't know, man. I almost kind of want to say that he was trying to be DSP. I mean, was trying to be like a Gouty version of like Hannibal Bartha and shit, trying to get those elephants over the Alps or whatnot. And he just you were that one elephant that wouldn't make the move, man. And you're just holding everybody else up. And yet again, if DSP is acknowledging that, hey, it's too hard to go after his detractors, trolls, haters, and critics, if you're not willing to put in that work, if you're not willing to put in that time, why would you expect anybody else to do it? That's the part that I don't get. That's the part that I don't. That's the fact that he doesn't see the fucking fallacy in that bullshit. It's fucking crazy, bro. The fact that his own frame of thought, Mr. Logical as shit, and uses common sense and all that bullshit. The fact that he doesn't see the actual problem in his frame of mind or frame of thinking when it comes to going after his ops is fantastic, bro. And then one could make the argument, oh, well, the reason why he doesn't want to make a documentary about detractors, trolls, haters, and critics is because he won't be taken seriously. Okay. I would assume most people wouldn't take it too seriously either, to be honest with you. If you're willing to talk to any detractor, troll, hater, or critic who's rational, don't talk to me, but talk to somebody who's rational and whatnot, you're going to find that they're all, for the most part, I would say, seem to be pretty decent people. So it's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like we're calling for DSP's neck or whatever. DSP will serve that up himself. You know what I'm saying? No one forced Kat to eat the way she did and fucking balloon up that way. None of us gave Kat cancer. You know what I'm saying? If she's really suffering from cancer, or she may be afflicted with it, or she might be in the early stages of it, look at her mans. Tell her to look at her quote unquote husband and whatnot and ask him what the problem was. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I retired my jersey on Kat a while ago, just like how Tyrone, Jamal, fucking Tevin, and the rest of them. I retired my jersey with the rest of them cats. So I don't know how that has anything to do with me, but whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it, and I will catch you guys for the next one of these, whenever that may be. Hopefully sooner than later. It'll be soon, because I have to. The video that's supposed to go up, I had to get pushed back so this could get finagled in. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Snort Report. This has been DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. A GTG Network of Productions. For the Snort Report, for SnortBucks Coffee Company, for Hard Snorts Gin and Tonic. And I'm pretty sure I said Hard Snorts Gin and Tonic. If I didn't. I've been your host / anchor, GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, people. Just, holy shit, take care of yourselves. Woo! Wow, Joon. Like I told y'all, no good deed goes unpunished. No good deed goes unpunished. If Darkside Phil isn't the example of that, or the people, I should say, who've tried to help DSP over the years, detractors and dents alike, I don't know what is. Anyway, I've been your host, GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, people. In the broadcast.